We want that to say, if you can check, mate, in a minute.
Yeah, okay. I can do it this way, you can.
Cheers. And we should be live. And we are live. Oh, I cut you off there. Sorry, hacked off the music at the end. Good morning. Look at that. We're only, well, probably not actually. Allowing for the lag, we are probably perfectly on time. So, anyway, where is our Steve? Sorry, hold on. Let me go and press the wrong one. There we go. There we are. We're all here. Actually, it's really weird having that second webcam next to me now. Anyway, good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Again. Nice to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
Is it raining where you are?
No, it's grey at the moment.
Yeah,
we
had a bit of rain, I must admit, overnight. But everything's a bit wet out there when I was out with the dog first thing. Never mind, here we are again, usual thing. If you could pop up any questions you have for me and Steve this morning, if you pop it in the forum, this is where we'll try and get technical now. Where's forum? Forum must be, what, 6? Okay, if you pop it down into this section here, so if you just scroll down to the, florymodels live streaming area in the forum, and then the Saturday morning live section just in there, that would be absolutely fantastic. And then that way we can answer any questions you've got specifically to what we're doing this morning and all the bits and pieces that's going on, or just general chit chat and things like that. And then me and Steve will do the questiony ones more on a Tuesday and things like that, which I think will be a bit easier and enable us to get on a bit more. Because you've sped ahead of me. I'm still last week where a little bit of dry brush give me Cockpit. And that's it. Down there like that. So Steve, what have you been doing this week?
Well, since I last spoke to you on Tuesday, done a bit more work on the Tornado and spent a lot of time stripping back and both my airbrushes proper clean, changed all the seals, put the needles in. It's only taken me about 4 weeks from when I got all the seals to doing it. So eventually got around to doing that.
Cool, very nice, very good. I must admit, doing the old seal video, thank you for all the feedback on that. I know a lot of you have said about the needle sticking with H&S brushes. They don't seem to do it with other people's. Again, I think a lot of it is, if you over tighten that seal one, the sort of, the chuck up inside it, which holds all the seals, it does that thing, it just squashes them slightly and it stops it flowing through. But again, a little drop of lube in there will help out you as well. Okay, so you can do it just like that. Thank you for all the feedback that I've been getting on the vlogs. Like Marmite, really. Definitely a bit of a 50-50 split. You either loved it or you hated it. As I say, it's something where I'm just trying to develop everything, and I won't go waffle on because I did that on yesterday's show. But as you say, thank you for allowing me to do these types of things and all the bits and pieces. As I say, it was just to see really what people felt about it, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, and everything else like that. So thank you for your honest, constructive criticism, which is great to get from you as well. And I must thank everybody because, as I say, the forum is just a small slither of things I get. I've printed a load off, and I got a wad like this because I print them off because it's easier to read them, from all the direct messages coming in via the contact me or just through members at florymodels.co.uk, and doing it that way. So thank you for all your great feedback on that. Anyway, I've got a coffee this week. Da, da, da.
In a thermos mug as well.
Well, I must admit, I'm a bit of a waff it down in one type. It gets to a certain temperature and I just neck it or just drink it cold as well. But I thought I'd try and be posh this week and have a thermos mug.
Or you could get yourself a cup holder that'd double up your day cold water.
Yeah, I've still got to do that, admittedly. I am thinking about getting one of those. I know there's a couple of the guys in the forum have done it and they've put it in the, what arrived this week section in the forum, and there's a couple of them in there. But I need one. It could live just there and I'll put me coffee right on it and I'll be good to go then. And as you say, decor warmer as well. Practical, and I can put it through the books. Right, so basically this week, Steve's slightly ahead of me, so he can show you more in detail whilst I play catch up. So if he wants to like swizzle his camera down or talk to you about what he's doing, I'm going to just try and catch up, and you can watch me do the bit here with my new Wonder Cam. It's amazing how this webcam works. It's like, hello, it hasn't worked for weeks and weeks. Does it all move like this? Oh, it's all slightly articulated.
You can see a bit better there. Well, basically, all I've done is paint the interior, do all the detail painting, and that way you can see I've done the centre console, the fire extinguisher, all the controls, foot pedals. So
Cool.
that's all ready now just for a wash. I've also done the instrument panel, which
I must admit, I was just about to start on that. Fantastic.
You can see there, it's just started off with a little light dry brush, then using a cocktail stick, picked out various knobs and
which is what I'm about to start on now.
Display panels with clear green. So
Cool.
it gives you that look where a bit of light's in it.
Yeah.
And also you can see over all the dials. I just went over that with a bit of what did I use? It with the microscale clear glue stuff.
Oh yeah.
Keep forgetting it's all backwards. I have to look at that little screen on my hand.
See, am I backwards? Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But I'm used to it, I suppose, because everything I do is backwards on camera.
So yeah, I just went over all the dials just to give it that look of glass.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they're all electronic dials on this, so all you need to do is leave it black underneath and then just put your gloss over the top.
Clear over it, yeah. Because we're going to do it in the powered down position, so sometimes I might have gone in there with like a black or something, with a green to give that effect of.
Yeah, what I also did, I used, it was Vallejo's model colour black, which I believe you've got the glossy black, and if you go around where the instruments are, you can just have a nice little glossy black border and just makes them stand out a bit more against.
All right.
Because I did the instrument panel NATO black, so by doing the gloss black, just makes them stand out a bit more like they do on the actual cockpit.
Yeah.
On the instrument panel, sorry.
See, look, we can also do this one as well. I forgot about this one. I've got my overhead working. Hey, look, we're really in stereo and triplicate now and all the rest of it. Hold on.
And I did put a couple of levers on the overhead control.
Yeah.
But I've lost a lever.
All right.
I don't know if you can make it. Oh, it's that. I can't get used to this going backwards. So
well, what I'll do, I'm just going to whip round with a little bit of grey on here, just to play catch up a little bit.
And also, I've painted the seats.
All right.
Which you tend to look as though they've got a grey. The actual seat fabric's grey.
Yeah.
And then the frames are kind of metallic black.
Mhm.
So I used. I think I might use the Vallejo steel.
Right.
It was one of the dark Vallejo metal colours just to give it that metallic look on the back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I must admit, I am falling in love with the Model Air white tops. It's the first time I've properly used them.
Oh, the model colour.
Yeah, the model colour ones.
Yeah.
And I've been using them quite a lot this week for various bits and pieces I've been doing, and I love the way this stuff doesn't dry. So you get more time to sort of manipulate it and get on with it and all the bits and pieces without
it. Runny. It's the
that's right.
So like now if you try doing that, some of the other colours, it just goes everywhere. And
yeah. So did you do the bezels or just leave them as dry brush?
I'll show you. I'll just bring mine up again. It's easiest, then you can see how I did it. It's that way, idiot.
Right. Oh yeah. Cool.
There we go. I will get this right one. I'll have to use this little window. That's better.
Yeah. Righto. Got you.
But I did look at the reference picture, and it tends to be just a few red dots here and there.
Yeah.
That you need to put on afterwards.
Mhm.
So the only thing left is to put a wash over the floor.
And this is the thing as well, which is another great tip I've learnt from you, is to use a cocktail stick for doing all your little work.
Yeah, it's just so easy.
Yeah, that's it. There is my roll of...
Because if you look through your cocktail stick, you get some really fine points on some of them.
Yeah.
And they're just superb for doing it.
Funny enough, when I was clearing out my bin area, which I know you haven't seen the vlog, but I showed, you know, my crappy bin area I have, everyone takes the mick out of me for.
Yeah.
Well, I cleared it all yesterday completely. I filled the bin bag. But the thing is that there was a load of cocktail sticks lying on the floor, and I managed to stab my hand at one point. So yeah, they're good quality ones from Traeger.
Well, I might as well make a start on the wash.
Yeah, go on then. If you want to show that, I'll play just catch up. I'll get this done and then I'll be right there.
You'll catch up, Phil, because we've got all the glazing to do next.
Oh, great.
Right, so I'm going to use, I'll get it all over my fingers, the MIG's Dark Wash for this. It's the old MIG production stuff, not the new ammo.
Yeah.
I've had this bottle years, just lasts and lasts.
You try this round here, you guys might be able to see a bit better.
So what I always do with this stuff, I just start splodging it on over the lines, and then I'll use white spirit to kind of blend it in.
Right.
And then you can use it as kind of a filter at the same time to give it that overall griminess. Just try.
Right, yeah.
So as you can see, I've just started splodging it. It's just splodged on, no particular means or anything. Then it's just a matter of getting plenty of white spirit on, just to move it that way a bit better. You might be able to, that's better, isn't it?
Might be a bit close on this top can. Nice, Pete. Keep going. I'll just make sure we're streaming to the world.
Yeah, I had a look on the.
Oh right, we are we?
We are, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we're all good. Thank God. It's working.
I put up a link as well in the Saturday
Oh right.
show thread, so people wouldn't know where it was as well.
Yeah, I did do the one on the main site as well. So the only thing is, I haven't put it on Facebook. So sorry if you're watching on Facebook. Right, this is a bit tricky to get into. There we go, hopefully on camera can see.
It's quite tricky holding it at an angle so people can see.
Ah, welcome to my world. Doing
Yeah.
everything backwards. Yeah, that's pretty much my life. Right, okay, we need a red.
I'll tell you which red you want to get, Phil. Either scarlet or the carmine red.
Oh look, I tell you, look, it's spooky. I've just got it in my hand.
Yeah. That and the scarlet tend to be brighter, so it just stands out a bit more.
Yeah, I don't know which ones we've got. Black and red. Red. Yeah, well, I think we'll go with the carmine one. See, who knew? Hey, look, I'm going to need a nut. I'm sure I had a spare one. There's one. This is a brand new bottle. Never been opened. I'm just going to pop the top. Gets the obligatory marine grade in there. I find these really do need to be woken up, especially if they've been kicking around a while.
Oh yeah, otherwise you get a kind of a white liquid comes out first.
Yeah. Like now, the nut's stuck to the... That's the only trouble. These are M4, and I find M4s are a little bit small, but I'm getting low on M5. So I've been tending to keep the M5s back a bit until I get some more in. Ugh. Okay.
But the good stuff about that as well is you can mix it with Model Air. So you've got limitless colours, really.
Right, where's red on this?
Right, I'll just show you mine again. Use that.
Okay, so bottoms.
Oh, I've moved my camera angle now. on. So yeah.
These are the fire angle ones, yeah?
Yeah, there's 4 red buttons right at the very top if you look.
Yeah, which obviously I think presume are the fire detection panel.
And then it's just a few along the bottom.
Yeah, got you.
Right.
Okay, right. So now we'll do the old PVA glue trick. Actually, I tell you what, this thin stuff might even work better because it'll flow. Okay, so this is the old Deluxe Materials car glue.
You could actually use Tamiya Smoke as well.
Yeah.
Because they'll give you that black,
Mm-hmm.
over black look as well.
Don't tell me. Come on, flow. Not gonna come out. Old school.
Right, if you can see that flow, kind of got
Yeah.
a lot of it's just covered all over. So now it's a matter of taking a lot of it off and thinning it at the same time. So I want to give it kind of that overall grime look to it.
Yeah.
And I'll also, where the detail is, I'll tend to move the wash over into the detail. So hopefully you'll see what I mean.
Okay, so I'm just using the thin. A bit of a thicker cocktail stick. Okay, let's have that. The idea of using a thicker one is you can just get a too thick. You can get like a dumpy tip on the end of it, so you can just tap it. If it's too thin, it just doesn't go in. It won't grip. But like here, you see, you can put it in and then just chuck it in each hole. That's probably too much on here, but hey ho. And then you can drag it around with a point afterwards. So you come in like this, flip over, and then just take it around to each one. Literally just like that. Okay, so with that round, round. Here we go. Hopefully you can see. Let those dry off. They won't take long. And okay, so just got to do catch up on the seats and that fire extinguisher or whatever it is behind the.
Yeah.
Is it red?
Yeah, it's red.
It's got a net round it in it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it don't quite look like the one in the picture. You know it's a fire extinguisher, but they don't have that kind of grey basket thing that it's sat in.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird. Also, just behind, can you see the two little green canister things that there is?
Oh right, yeah. presume they're oxygen, aren't they?
I couldn't make out what they were. I don't know if they were oxygen or some kind of something they throw out or.
Yeah. Okay, green. Let's just grab a green. Okay. Medium olive, that'll do. Got to be close, isn't it? Okay. Ugh. So what I'll do is with these is literally just come in, do them like that, and then I'll switch over to the grey to tidy it up. So don't worry about too much getting on areas perhaps you didn't want it. Like, you know, you can probably see in here, this just doesn't mix very well at all. Oh,
One thing I forgot to say, I did put a quick coat of clear down before I put the wash on.
Right.
I didn't make it too glossy because I wanted it to slightly grey.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just on top of paint.
Right, okay. I can probably do this on my phone if we've got enough juice. Okay. Read out a couple of bits and pieces this morning. In fact, where's my tablet? Where's my tablet here somewhere? Tablet's charged up. Hold on. Oh yeah, I won't try my tablet because it will eat into the everything. Let me turn that off. Okay, so latest. We down in here, Saturday morning live. Here we go. Right. Okay. So I'll find a way of standing this up a little bit. This is from Alan, and Alan says, hold on, he's grabbing this guy because this is going to take some two little ones up, a bigger one. Okay, so here we go. On. You should get me back if it works. Yes, we work. Okay, so Alan says, morning Phil and Steve, hope you are both well. First, can I say to Phil that I admire your dedication and encouragement for young people into the hobby. The gliding fraternity is facing the same problem, and it's critical that young people are encouraged into this very rewarding pastimes. However, I enjoy particular the model reviews that you do. Like myself, I have an eye for a good deal, and I've wondered what the smear kits or the SMER models are like. They appear to be so cheap. I recently bought the MiG-21 UM by Trumpeter from Hannants, and also decided to might treat myself to a smear kit. No, I won't say smear kit because that just doesn't sound right. An SMER kit. I bought the 148th SU 1722. Then it arrived. I did my own box review, and hey, only $17.99. What a bargain! What a bargain buy! I can't wait to build it. I was pleasantly surprised by the quality detail in this kit. See, if you haven't done a review on a SMER kit, I'm going to have that in my head now. I would be more than happy to send you one to a review. Best regards and keep up the sterling work. Alan C. from Newcastle. Thank you, Alan. Have you ever looked at one of their kits, Steve?
No, I haven't.
No, nor have I. I don't know if they're Reeboxes or are they their own.
Honestly, I don't know much about them. I have seen the kits, but I don't know.
Yeah, I must admit, I am a bit of a loss at them. I don't know them, and I will get one sent to us this week. I'll get the sales lot to get one in, and I'll peg one onto a review and do it like that. So yeah, I must admit, don't know much about them, but I will get some involved. Hold on, I've lost my top now before this all dries out. Alright, okay. Right, that goes on there, that goes on there. Perfect. Right, let's get a bit of this out and get the green in. That's a nice colour green, look at that. Covered in paint. Okay, so Chris says, evening guys, or morning in our time. Hope all is well back in Blighty. That's why he's obviously all the way. Treated myself to the Airfix BF109E4 E1. In 148 scale. I want to use Tamiya or Vallejo Model Air to do the main scheme for it. What colours should I use for late 1940s in which the yellow nose, which have the yellow nose and rudder? I thought they were the early ones who had the yellow nose and rudders. Never mind, I must admit, I'm not saying because I don't know them very well. The paint chart suggests RLM 65. Aircraft blue, 240 grey, 241 green, because that's obviously the normal kickouts for them. I have the Valero German grey, German and medium already in the sets. Whilst I was there, I saw that Mr. Hobby and Maskell sold orange top and purple top, so I bought both. Goodo. What are they good products? Also, thanks for you guys. I look forward to my daily fix. It helps me relax and unwind after a busy day. Cheers, Chris. Right, okay, so first of all, the paints. I do believe, and I just can't remember them off the top of my head, but Vallejo, Tamiya will do the colour set and will do them in the colours, and so do Model Air, and so do, because I've got it. I'm assuming you're probably meaning, oh no, hold on, that's pre-war. That's yellow. Pre-war, Luftwaffe colour wars to the end. So, if you were thinking along the lines of this guy down here, for instance, your colour callouts on that one is RLM 76, which is obviously the light grey for the underside and sort of well, it's like a bluey grey, isn't it? Then you've got obviously the dark greys of RLM 74 and 75. So it is 74, 75 and 76 would be your colours. So that's it. There is conversions for them on their major websites. I don't know where my little thing is to go through them at the moment. Okay, but that is for the these are the Vallejo ones, which are the new colours, I do believe, because they've changed them all, which basically means, has it got them on here? You think Vallejo would actually give the colour call out for them. How do you get into their boxes? Oh, you don't get an inlay with theirs. Okay, so the light blue, under the new way of doing it, would be 257. I got it in mine. 25. Oh yeah, I've got it over there. Okay, and then for the other two, 74, 75. I don't know if they put them in order. Oh, they will fall over on me now. That's the camo greens. RLM 74 would be 258. Please be next to it. No, of course not, that would be too simple. Yeah, it would be easier probably to tip them all out, I know. RLM 83. Did we say 76 it was, wasn't it? 75, 74, 55. 82. Oh god, we're really on them now. 84. So it looks like well, we're going to have to look in here because it doesn't give a number, which is a bit silly how it doesn't. 257, 258 and 259, yeah? 257, 258 and 259 would be your colours. Flory, why don't you just look, okay? Which they do give a very nice little chart. So if I just go...
You like doing that little musical sound effect, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'm into my music, you see.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the actual the ones for it. So you've actually got the maritime and the tropical colours. You've got the colours to the end of the war. You've got the standard, all the RLN colours now, and all the rest of it. I don't know which camera will be best for this, I'm sure. But you get a little leaflet now, which is a nice touch. I didn't know they did that. That'll have to go into my little box of everything. So yes, we will be using these colours when we do the 190. Although after reviewing that G6 yesterday, I wish I was doing that, because that's an absolute stunning kit, that is, especially in 148. That really, really is very, very nice. Okay, so I've lost my thing now. Okay, so we've also got Keen. He says, "Hi guys, I'll be joining you to watch live from New Zealand. I have a question about the Flory sounders. I don't know if it's been answered, but I've heard Phil saying you can clean the sounders. Just wondering what is the best way to clean them. On the edge of the table, can you also clean the polishing sponges?" Yeah, I always just knock them on your trousers, because they are all a sort of form of self-cleaning. So you have it sort of something like this, and then you can go in and obviously clean them out and all the rest of it. So they are all sort of self-cleaning. Where's the other bigger ones? Even like the really old ones and the things like you get like these, you know, you should be able to go in and just give them a knock and they're self-clean. You can soak them in water if you want to as well. They are all water, you know, proof, so to speak. And even with the polisher one, this has got, it's the difference between the polisher, which is this guy here, and the other ones, is that the polisher, instead of it being a grit on top of paper, it's actually impregnated into fabric. So what this enables it to do is not fall apart like the old one did. And I know a lot of people like our old style one, but it's like a one-hit wonder. So that's why we dropped it. So this one is an impregnated into the fabric, so you can actually soak that as well if you wanted to get it all off, and it's not going to fall apart on you. Okay, so that's it. The trouble is though, as you can imagine, the grit is so tight and so very, very fine. Once it clogs up, it's very hard to get it out because it's not easy to get in amongst itself. But you can soak them in water. So if you want to do, just leave them floating. And they'll be absolutely fine, and you can do it like that. But I say, I knock them on my trousers, hence I know everyone says about me wearing combats, but that's why. So I don't get them, doesn't matter, just throw them away. Okay, Paul Martin. Hello Phil and Steve, thank you for your advice about removing of decals. Can you explain the difference between Mech and Tamiya Extra Thin? I have noticed the smell of the fumes that Mech gives off, but haven't noticed that it evaporates a lot quicker than Tamiya. I've got to stick to Tamiya. Cheers. I'm going to stick to Tamiya. Cheers. To be honest, yeah, there's difference. It's on a micro scale. I'm not a chemist, so I wouldn't know. But the thing is, the Tamiya Extra Thin isn't as harmful as Mech. Mech is quite potent stuff. If you know, very much old school with Mech, Tamiya tends to be a little bit more cleaner and easier to use. Also, the big thing is, comes with a brush, it's in an easier bottle, it doesn't knock over, and that's what me and Steve covered last week when we were talking about it. But general for what they do, I think Mech is a little bit hotter. I think it melts plastic a little bit more perhaps than everything else would, so to speak. So
can you use them type Mech and other glues like that on most plastics, can't you?
Yeah.
Tamiya's mainly for styrene.
Yeah, I think also Mech is designed, isn't it, more for doing like ABS plastics and the sort of polymer plastics and stuff like that, plumbing and those types of things. But as Steve says, Tamiya won't do those types of jobs. It's more designed for styrene sheet and styrene like we use for modelling and stuff. I think also it's just a nicer way of doing it, if you know what I mean, and doesn't evaporate. Okay, Jeffrey Scott. Hi Steve. Can you lower your camera angle so we can see what you're doing? Yep, we've got a lovely crutch shot now, so he's fine. Okay, Dan Jones. Morning Phil and Steve. I'm really enjoying the vlog this week. I'm really pleased I'm part of your community. As for such little money, it's great value to boot. And I also love my new sounders. Keep up the good work. Thanks Dan. Checks in the post for that one. Right, Paul O'Neill. Morning Phil and Steve. My first post is his first post actually. Mind you, he's been a member for getting on for like 11 months. Okay, first post by myself, but I've been enjoying the great site over the last year. Recently, I've got some black Indian ink and was wondering how I go about using it for modelling purposes. Okay, there's an actual section. If you go to tips and it's in there, and it's a video all about it, and it shows me making it up in different ways. So you can mix it with like airbrush cleaner, you can also mix it up with retarders and various things to do different ways of making it all up. It would be a lot quicker to go and have a watch of that one after the show, obviously, than for me to explain it. But yeah, have a look in the tip section, it's in there. And also I think if you put in Indian ink in the forum search, it's in there as well. It's on both. Okay, so that would be a lot easier. But basically what you're doing, Indian ink is one of the most potent inks you can get. It's very, very strong, literally a drop into sort of 10 ml of water, that's it. And you can use it like Steve's really doing now for washes and various things. It's got great capillary action. It's just a cheaper way of doing it than perhaps using the more traditional enamel washes and stuff like that. Okay, David Barkley, morning Phil and Steve. Finally got my first live show. Catching my first live show. Great time for me as it's 5 p.m. on Saturday here in Okinawa. Perfect. So it feels and sounds great. Finally getting some the gremlins tamed. Cheers, guys. I'm also at my bench. I'm working on a 148 Hasegawa Spitfire Mark 567 conversion. Pretty cool. Feels like a modelling club meet. That's the whole point of this one. It's supposed to be nice and informal and just normal, if you know what I mean. Okay. Right. Okay. So last one just for the minute. Paul Martin. Hi Phil. Love the new daily vlog show. Keep up if you can. Paul. Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you all for all the feedback on that. As I said, if you haven't seen them, go and have a look and then just give me your feedback on it. Okay. That's what I'm looking for, is to find out exactly what's people like and enjoy and all things like that. Right, let's get very carefully in here with a better brush.
There you go, Phil. That's. I usually take a lot longer to do it, but you can see how.
Hold on, let me put you on full screen. Where are we? I ought to mark this as Steve full screen. Where are we? Hold on, I've lost the thing. Oh God, where the bloody hell? Oh, there we go. Right. There you go, Steve, you're up.
Yeah, you can see now by how it's giving it a kind of overall griminess.
Yeah.
And that's all that is just using plenty of white spirit, and you're moving the enamel product around, so you get it in the around all the detail, and then on the sides just keep diluting it until you get that nice griminess.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's good about enamel products, that you can do that. And you may have seen over the raised details, just to finish off, I just take a normal cotton bud and just wipe over any raised details. Let's have a look. For example, is that circle which is there?
Yeah.
So all you have to do is just wipe along the top,
and
it just removes the wash from along the top. But it does dry light, so that's how, like I say, you get a nice overall griminess. And then depending on what you're doing, you can do that with your dust enamel products. I usually do it with every type of wash that I put on, do it this way. So even on armour, and it gives you that overall griminess as a base, and then you can just build up layer after layer.
Yeah.
It's quite easy to do.
Yeah, looks really nice.
And obviously it'll look even better once you've had a matte coat over it. I haven't put any wash over the instruments.
No.
To be honest, I don't think it really needs any.
No, I wouldn't, because also it's a modern cockpit, isn't it? So I don't think it would have.
Especially the Coast. If it were, for example, doing one that's out in Afghanistan, or you go to town on the dust, because the dust will just get everywhere.
No, very good, mate. Looks very, very cool. Beautiful job. Right, let me just do that, and then that. Sorry, and then that. There we go. We're all here.
Yeah, but that's what I use, Phil. The on the back of it, it's the Loxley Artist White Spirit.
Oh yeah.
This is very low order. So, and I just use it straight from the bottle, and never, as long as you don't shake your bottle, just use it straight from the bottle, because all the sediment settles in the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, it saves decanting it every 2 minutes. So,
cool.
Hence mine's a funny colour now. It's clear inside, but the bottle's filthy.
Yeah, it is. It just all sinking to the bottom.
Yeah, but it adds to it anyway. Gives another layer of weathering, you know.
And I think that's what it is, and that's what I'm trying to do with the Halifax as well, is it's multi-level. You know, with that, we started off with just paint, decals, sanded it to give a certain effect with the wash. And then what I've done with this one yesterday, we were starting to work with enamels right the way over it. So this thing had an entire enamel wash, but it doesn't kill the clay wash because the clay wash will eat enamel for breakfast. Okay, so it doesn't affect it whatsoever. So that's the great thing about it, that again, it's just layering up, going through. So to be honest, next up for that, which will be on Monday, is to go through with the oils. We're going to do streaking, various bits and pieces, some, you know, vertical drops as well as engine type things and stuff like that, you know, and we can get all of those in, and then we can seal it down and start bringing it all together and all the rest of it. But as I said, it's all that thing about layering up, getting all the different layers in there and working your way through it.
I think one way you can remember it is like Photoshop. When you're editing a photograph on there or something, you're doing it in layers. So you can have maybe 10 layers and just seal each layer with, usually I like to do it with a quick coat of clear in between, and just build it up, and then you can add different effects. So then you do get that, especially when you're weathering, it looks like you give it a 3D effect. So it looks like you've got really grind in, and then right on top it's another layer, and you get depth to your paintwork.
And again, we're back to what I call scale. And it is that thing where you're tricking the viewer as he's looking at it into looking at all the different layers, and that is what's going to give you that different look between our type of modelling work and doing like die cast and stuff like that, is because we can do all the different layers, which when you look at it you see sort of different things each time you look at it. Whereas if you're looking at die cast, or if you're looking just at, you know, normal sort of mahogany models and stuff like that, you know, you don't get those layers and the different things, and each time you look at it, and also from different angles you see different reflectives and various things, and that's what gives you that scale presence that at the end of the day it literally should, or you're hoping it will, is just trick the mind into thinking, you know, it's obviously bigger than it is, or it's certainly in proportion to its surroundings. And that's when I always say about, it's always nice when you get like a member and you look at his, you know, work, and you're not quite sure what scale it is, so you have to look, because it could be anything. It could be 1/24th or it could be 1/44. You really don't know and can't see exactly what, you know, scale it actually is. And I think that's always the nice thing, where, you know, the mind is tricked and you don't know. You know you've nailed it when you're in that type of situation.
Yeah, it's even like when you're doing chipping. Put your chipping on first of all, and then finish off the model with another layer of chipping. So it looks as though you've got really old stuff, and then fresh chip. So again, it's another dimension to your weathering.
Yeah, no, definitely. But, you know, it is that thing as well, is that when you're working through your levels, it's just taking your time and treating each level as an individual. Okay, so you're sort of right, okay, because what you tend to find is that people worry about when they've done a particular level, they don't like it, and they think they've ruined the model and the various things like that. But I'm a great believer in just working with whatever you've been given. So, you know, to be honest, working on the Halifax, I was doing some of the acrylic chipping work. Wasn't very happy, but the great thing with acrylics, as I'll explain with this when the video goes up, is that you just wet a cotton bud and rub it off and start again. And that's because we protected the layer below, so you can do almost anything on top of it. So when I was going around doing chipping work with it, look at it, and when it dried, I'm thinking, pretty much overdone the grey work there, but I'm going to put the next darker colour on top. So it sort of, you know, hides it, blends it in and everything else. And then you got like things like the wash this one had right the way over it. It's a bit like those yellow lines on the front. You know, at the time they were right in your face and quite horrible. Now they're sort of muted in, worn in, torn in, chipped in and everything else. They're becoming part of the overall model instead of blazing out, you know, looking at you. So when you do see it like this, as you hopefully can see it there, where if I just flick my overhead on, I'll find my box now. You know, now they're more blended in, you know, they're not quite as bright. They're obviously all still going to be there, but they are now just eaten into the surface. So when you look at it from the normal type of angles like this, actually now we're pretty much in there. And this chipping work that we were all doing yesterday on the top and that, You know, now it all just sort of comes together. You know, we've worn down when we sanded back the sort of the streaking as the primary. Everything is sort of eating into itself and it becomes one, but this is still really shiny. You can still see how shiny this thing is. Okay, there's no flat coat on this, but when you look at it, it doesn't look very flat, you know, very sort of shiny at all. And then again, working down here, this had the wash right the way over it, a dark enamel wash, and on the bottom. And it hasn't really affected anything because it all just works together as you're making your way around the entire model. And that's what it's all about, is to literally be in a situation where, okay, that's just work on, push through it, see if it goes wrong, get a horrible layer, don't worry about it, you can correct it a little bit later on. But all too often I see guys and they panic and worry because something's happened. Okay, and it's a case of, look, don't worry about it, just push through it and we'll change it. You know, it's like we've said, this one I had, I don't know if you remember, but I had a big white mark up here on the side, okay? What I've done with that is I put a little bit of grey in it, so it looks like there's a chunk out of it now, without having like silver, which would look overdone, but it looks like it's had a chunk out of it. You know, it could have been a seagull flying into it for all I know, but it's just that thing. I'm going to leave it and work with it instead of trying to hide it. You know, and I'm a great believer in that. That's a lot of how my sort of work is, because at the end of the day, I just sort of believe in just pushing through. Every model tells a story and it's your story as well, so don't care what anyone else says. At the end of the day, if you're happy with it, I'm sure Steve, when he's doing his weathering, especially on the bigger projects you've done, Steve, like the mini dioramas, it's telling a story. So if you've got a situation where something happens, like a chunk or something else, or like a knock or something, you know, you just go with it because it's telling a story. So you might have a bent bit of plastic, perhaps you've like dented or bent a grab handle or something. I would leave it, I wouldn't try and fix it because it would look more realistic that it's had a dent or something else in there, you know.
Oh, I have to put the seats in. Seat belts. That's what we're on to.
Is it?
Yeah.
Coffee time. Hey, look, at least my thermos mug's working. Right, okay, so we've done that. So what I'm going to do is a quick tidy up around in here. And we're going to use a slightly darker grey. Actually, I think I've got a slightly lighter. Oh, we've got dark grey, black grey, that is the lightest of them all. Neutral. Yeah, I'm going to be a convert now. I'm going to be going out and buying all these colours. You know that, don't you?
They do, for military, they do Panzer Racers range. They're very good. And you get some really nice rust colours in.
But I am enjoying it. I don't know if you can see, but down here I've got my little palette. That's how I was working on the Halifax yesterday. I had a little palette and I'm mixing it as well. Well, you can't do that with Tamiya or normal because it just dries so quick. So it's like, yeah, mix a little bit, take a bit over, right, darken it down, lighten it up, whatever you want to do. I quite liked working like that. It was very artistic.
You can just put I know people make wet palettes, but add a little drop of your retarder in there or flow enhancer.
Yeah, or even if you haven't got any of those, you could just chuck in a little bit of airbrush cleaner.
Yeah.
That'll do the same thing. So, God, I'm going to have to buy some more nuts. Gonna get low. Okay. Secret I found for opening these things up to put your nut in on the first time, don't shake it first. Because otherwise when you push the top in, it obviously the air gets stuck, has to come out and pushes out the top. But if you do it before you've shaken it or moved it, it's okay. So I'm going to do a quick tidy up around mine now and then I'll be in with the wash as well. So one little thing, hopefully you can see, if I put this here I could use it like a remote in theory. There we go. So you can see, like Steve had, I've got the glossiness now. This is all totally dry down here on the instrument panel. So it's nice when you look across and you'll catch it in the light. And that's what we're saying, or I think hopefully Steve's agreeing. But it's that three-dimensional look to it. So when you look at it in different lights, you get different things reflecting. So here you can see all those dials reflecting and all the bits and pieces, you know, to give you a nicer look to everything, okay? So what we're going to do is, we're just going to pop this down in here. Again, just a tiny little bit. And then, obviously, I've got to tidy up just down here where we put those bottles in, the bits and pieces. There you are. down in there. We're going to tidy up those, and just little bits around the floor, little tiny things on there, little bits around the pedals and that, so we can use this paint because it will love it. Okay, and that's what I like to do. I tend to roughly go in like we're doing this stuff, and then I'll come back in and actually tidy up afterwards. Okay, just to give you a sharper, perhaps. So if you have gone a little bit awry with your hand painting and all the rest of it, honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, so like just around here, just on the floor, we're just going to whip a little bit of this round. Okay, just on the bottom of this bottle where we've gone a little bit over, and it will all dry in. Okay, all things like that, all things down the side. Okay, so we can just do these little guys as well. Okay. The only trouble is Steve's done his correctly, I haven't. I've put mine together. Steve did his so he can get in here better. There we go, so that's me like that. Okay. Very happy of how all that is. So now, what do you do your seats with? Just like a blue-grey?
I just picked a grey, I forget which colour it was. I honestly can't remember.
This week we are sponsored by
It might have been
Vallejo Model Air. No, Vallejo Normal White Top Paint.
could have been XF82.
Oh, was it?
Something like that, yeah.
Light grey, blue grey.
What's with that?
Do we not have a blue grey in here? What's that? Gunmetal blue? Ooh. I've never seen that before. Gunmetal blue. You ever even heard of that?
I've got it, but I haven't used it.
Crikey. German black brown.
Yeah, it's got more. You've got most of the colours in there, but there's quite a few ones that you haven't that you.
Oh yeah, I know their range. When you look at it, it goes for miles and absolute miles, doesn't it? I must admit, it's probably the most extensive set I've seen. Dark blue, pale blue, pale blue, grey. Look very blue to me. Military green, German dark green.
In fact, it might have even been that. I think it was by looking at it. It's Model Air 71047 I used.
All right.
Which is the US grey.
All right. Well, I'm just going to pick one at random just to be a bit weird.
Well, they'll all be faded and different.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put a wash over it anyway. Okay. So with this one, we're just going to hoof out of here a light grey. So, seats.
And the framework, like I say, it's kind of a metallic, really dark metallic colour.
Yeah.
So if you try using some, what it's steel or? Let's have a look. Yeah, it was Vallejo steel I used, and it's the new metal colour stuff of theirs. You only need a tiny couple of drops, and it'll do all three seats. Just goes and goes.
Yeah. But you might be noticing here, guys, that the difference between this paint, if you haven't used it before, and your more traditional ones is you can hand paint it without that drag effect that you often get when you're using Tamiya or certainly Model Air or something else. If you're trying to hand paint with those, what's going to happen is it drags like hell. Okay, but with this stuff, as you notice, if I can grab it without getting covered in paint, it just literally keeps giving. It's very smooth, very nice. Okay, and it'll just literally go and go and go. So, you know, I'm thinking like dry brushing and things like that especially, it's great to have a paint that just keeps giving because as soon as it dries out, you sort of lose that texture that you've perhaps got a good bit get on the go when you're dry brushing, and you're back to a situation where that's not going to work. But as you can see, there's very little drag to this stuff. But again, you know, like I'm trying to prove on this one, you don't necessarily have to get the right colours. Yeah, if the colour call out gives you a colour call out, I would just use it as a reference, even for the camo. Because by the time you've come in, weathered it, washed it, given it, you know, stuff over the top and all the rest of it, then quite frankly, it could be anything, you know? So don't be too drawn about colours and precise things, because as I say, you can be in a situation where, you know, a Mark 1 eyeball will give you a better effect perhaps than a...
And also, especially with this, have a look at reference pictures, because some of the colour call-outs, they're a bit iffy.
Well, yeah, it's typical early trumpeter, isn't it?
I don't know, I think this is 2014 kit though.
Oh, right.
So it ain't early trumpeter.
Yeah. But some of their early stuff was purely comical. Yeah, they used to say use whatever, and you're like, really?
Would be nice, instead of giving us photo etch seat belts, if they just gave us the buckles.
Yeah.
And they put a little diagram in the instructions where you can cut out maybe your own paper straps and...
Yeah. Okay. And also using this stuff as well. I know I'm seem like an advert now for Bleeding Vallejo, but it dries very nice, very smooth. Okay, it doesn't, you know, it almost self levels as well when using this stuff. But don't think I'm like switching over to this and dumping everything. It's just that I might end up getting a few more, because I'm enjoying hand painting with this stuff far more than you would if you were using, well, anybody else's, quite frankly.
Well, I definitely recommend, I think we've said before, just getting the basic reds and yellows,
Yeah.
a few greys and blacks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last bit here, and I'm going with my wash. So have we worked out how we're going to do the glass work yet?
Well,
Are we going to shove it in now, or we'll do it after?
I think some of it has to be put in from the inside. But we've also got the tail rotor assembly to do as well.
Right.
Before we can close it up. Hopefully we can just put the kind of bracket in place, and then... Where do they fix on the back then?
Okay, so there we go. That's those done. Right, coffee break and questions, if we got any. No. Right. What was the last one we just did?
We've done the Okinawa one.
Zealand, that's it. That was it. That was the last one, wasn't it? Yeah, the Okinawa one. Right. Okay.
Oh, so we're a guy who's just
12. Yeah, we was on page 12. Okay, so. Okay, a few more. We go this way. I'll be able to read them. Okay, Clint says, "Hi guys, have a great day. Getting my florymodels fixed. Managed to watch all of the vlog and news shows from this week. Now for the desert of Sunday morning show. Keep up the great work." See, look, we have to do this 7 days a week. Okay, hi fellas. Not to rush you, but can you check your fuselage halves together for dry fit? I've got a gap between the windshield. It's terrible. We spoke about this last week. Yours is, mine isn't it?
No, I think only problem with mine's the front end.
Yeah, because...
And I think it was yours that had the
Oh, yeah,
It's
we've
like
got
that.
2 different kits. I think they're all slightly different because I've got a gap where Steve hasn't. Steve's got one where I've got one. I bought the toenail clipper style sprue cutters that you don't like because Steve said it was user error. I agree with you, Phil. They blow. See, it's not just me who can't
Well,
frigging
it's,
use
you
them.
can't use them. I've been using them here.
Perhaps they're just like duff.
They shouldn't be. It's just,
I don't even know where mine are.
I know if you cut right too far back, you need to get really in. But I just find them so.
Look, I had mine almost like in a press trying to do it, and it still wouldn't cut through it. It just sort of squashes it and doesn't physically cut all the way through. It maybe I've got a duff
If
pair.
it's really too thick sprue gate, you really do have to.
No, mine was little fine stuff
Yeah,
because
but
we were saying
mine's
about nipping off little stuff, but it just literally wouldn't have it.
technique.
Also, the pot of paint I sent you with the acrylics. Ah, right. So who was this? Sorry, Joe. It was Joe. Where is my little pot of paint? Oh, it's over there. It's all right. I thought you mentioned on the other one you had an enamel, but I'm quite often wrong. Oh, right. So he sent me the acrylic. Ah, was you, Steve? Which one did you send me?
I sent you the enamel.
Ah, right. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna have to go and get his. Hold on. I've got to disconnect a minute. Ugh. Hold on. Right. So here we go. I'll just do the other one. Ah. Actually, one looks a slightly different colour though when you look at it. Look.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? One
Yeah.
looks a lot paler. The one on
Yeah, but which one now, eh?
the one I'm looking at, it's in your left hand.
Yeah.
Looks paler.
Yeah, I must admit it definitely is, and that is the acrylic. So that's what we've got here.
It don't look as deep a colour.
No, it doesn't, does it? One's more of a faded look versus the...
It's almost like a scale effect.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, because look, you can probably see it nicely on the overhead here, look. That's the difference between the two. The one on the left here is a lot faded than the other one, and obviously this is the acrylic, which I must admit, I do love these paints. Their acrylic range is really, really nice, but you just cannot get them in the UK. Now, there was a rumour a couple of years ago that they were going to be imported into the UK, and I'll be honest with you, I even looked about importing them at one point, but the levels you have to keep is absolutely horrendous, so it's a massive money investment, and you just know you're going to get lumbered with all the crap colours. But yeah, definitely a colour difference. But yeah, it might be interesting to have a go with the acrylic, just to see the difference, and I have to call mine weathered then. Sit.
Well, it could be worth just putting some on a piece of plastic card to start with before
Yeah,
you start.
just to have a go, see what they look like.
Yeah.
Right. I'm only 36, so I may be a youngster here. My wife is 25. Thinks I'm a mega nerd. Bless. You probably are, but then that's what it is. Like, we even call ourselves geeks when we have our meetings here on like this Sunday we got, and I know Steve does as well. We are the geek meet. That's what we do. Nothing wrong with being a geek.
We just call it a meat. We don't call it geek.
Oh, so you're posh up there, is it?
Yeah, we are. We're blokes up, not geeks.
Oh, right, yeah. We're men are men.
Yeah.
The whippets are nervous. Okay, so, I've got to try and pronounce this. Etelin, sorry if I've just mutilated your name. Morning, love the live show and the new blog. I'm looking forward to some schematics for the air brakes for the Buccaneer. I don't seem to be able to find anything good. I am busy scratch building the air brakes for an Airfix 172nd kit. Any advice? Cool. Google your friend. To be honest, I'm going up to Yelverton in a couple of weeks, so I could have a skimmy in the museum. Well, I'm actually up there to go in the museum, and they've got a couple in there, and one of them's got, it's actually, I think it's the RAF version they've got with the brakes open down the back. So yes, but as for that, I don't know. I'm sure if there's any, they might have some members on the site who are real Buck fans, and all the brick. So yeah, it maybe just post it up in the forum and ask them directly if anyone has. But also Google tends to be pretty good. And what I will do is when I'm at the museum in a couple of weeks, I'll take some photos for the back end of it for you, because they've got one there and it's completely opened up. And the reason it's opened up so it can fit, because they've got it up against the wall, but you can still get behind it and get some great reference shots from behind it. But I'm sure there must be some on Google, really. But yes, as for proper schematic drawings and stuff like that, again, if you have a look around Google, you'd be surprised what you can find. A lot of like the Buccaneer sites. I don't know if there is a SIG, is there, Steve, for Buccaneers?
I don't think so.
No, it'd be interesting. I will start one. It's only because there's no decent kits of them. That's why there's not a group.
You'd be amazed just like if you put up a question in either the research or on just in modelling chat, you'll guarantee that somebody will know where you can get them on. We'll find it.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Okay. So. Okay. Next page. Good morning, Phil and Steve. Is it your eyesight getting bad when you have to put it on the side? This is from Steve. Sorry, David. Good morning, Phil and Steve. Enjoying the live show. Please can you help me with a problem with my Trumpeter 135th Challenger 2? After cementing the axles, have you done this one, Steve?
No, but I've got it to build.
Ah, right, okay. Because I haven't built it either. That's the trouble. After cementing the axles for the return idler wheels, I've just noticed that one has warped about 15 degrees upwards. The part is seated squarely in the model, so it's not incorrectly fixed. The axle is bent. I doubt taking it. I can't take it off without causing more damage. Have you any suggestions on how to heat it enough to try and straighten it without getting the rest of the lower hull to warm? Love what you guys are doing. So please keep up the great work. Best wishes to you both, Dave. What do you reckon then, Steve?
Right, you said the return roller, didn't you, at the top?
Yeah.
Well, if it's the small return rollers right at the top, don't worry about it, because you can just stick your side skirts on and it'll cover it up. Or is it the actual idler?
It's the idler. Yeah, sorry, after cementing the axles for the return idler wheel. So yeah, it's the idler.
The actual idler.
At the front, yeah. Won't the tracks pull it down?
Not really, because you'd have to put a lot of tension on the track to pull that down. What if it's bent up?
Yeah.
You could maybe take a razor saw and just put a slight cut on the opposite side to where the bend is, on the outside of the bend.
Yeah. To be honest, that's what I was going to say, is to cut it and then put a shimmer plasticard into it to bend it.
You wouldn't even need... Well, if you do it on the opposite side, it gives you then that little gap just to bend it down, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I was just thinking that what I'd be inclined to do is cut it with a razor saw on the top, so it's going to bend downwards like a tree falling, and then put a shimmer plasticard in there just to hold it. But as you say, you could soften it slightly with glue, cut it, soften it a little bit with like extra thin, and then bend it a bit and then let it go off again. That would be the other way. Or
just
cut it and then reseat it.
Yeah, cut it off and pin it. Just sewing needle, just cut a little bit of
drill and
pin
it. Yeah, so your other option, like we did with the gear when they shear off, just cut it clean and with a razor saw, drill both sides, pin it, and then reseat it and do it that way. Couple of options. You know, you might want to have a go at the early one first, and just have a go about bending it slightly, see if that'll do it. Perhaps a half cut through it and then doing it. If that's not doing it and it's looking like it's all going to go horrendously wrong, then just cut it, wedge it slightly, reseat it in, and pin it. As I say, it's a shame because it's a lot of work for something that's quite a small little detail. But as I say, if it's hanging 15 degrees up, it's going to look a bit odd. Right. Okay. So where am I? So my seats are done. Are you attaching harnesses? Are you?
Yeah.
Oh. Right. Cool. Okay. So I think I'm going to put my.
Here's a little tip as well. When you change your airbrush needle, keep hold of it because they're brilliant super glue applicators.
Yeah.
Because you can get, obviously being so long, you can get right into tiny little areas.
Mm-hmm. Right, I've just got to do these two in here.
Problem is they last forever and then you end up with a drawer full of them.
Yeah, that's it. Which I've got. And then the trouble is I've got some in there and I'm not sure if they're new or old. So what I do now is I put a little bit of tape around the old one so I know it's an old one.
Well, I throw the tube away if it.
Yeah, I must admit I keep them and keep the tube and I just put some tape around it so it is all right, you know. Okay, so
I'll find somebody with a precision lathe that could put a really nice new point on it for you.
well, yeah, that'd be handy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep looking at this lathe online, you see. Sealy do a milling machine, so it's a lathe and a drill above it. There's this milling machine. And as I say, when I first thought, oh, that'd be nice, because it looked great back there, and I would love to have a go at lathing stuff and machining stuff. And but it's 1,300 quid, and it's like, yeah, thanks. But it keeps coming down in price, and now it's like 900 quid. So I have said to myself, if it comes down to like 700 quid, I'll buy it. But there's a load of them on there and they're getting cheaper and cheaper. But it's a big red Sealy lathe with a drill, so it's like technically a milling machine in one. So yeah, I keep saying about I'd love to have a go and learn that particular talent.
Yeah, if you're prepared to learn it and you'd use it enough, fair enough. Otherwise, it's a big chunk.
Oh, it's a lot of money just to sit there doing nothing. I must admit, is what I like to do every now and again is I learn new things. Like a couple of years ago, I learned how to weld properly, which is like, you know, just something I've never done since particularly. A couple of little jobs, but it was one of those things I just wanted to know how to do it because I feel like I should know how to weld. So say I learned welding just to basically just tick a sort of, you know, bucket list box. But I'd like to learn machining as well and do machine work and all the rest of it. Not so much CNC cutting machines and stuff like that, but the manual way of doing it, of like turning your own little wheel, getting your gauges out. I love the precision work of doing something else like that. And it's something on my bucket list I'd like to do. So I'm thinking if I bought one of those as well, I'll be away with it. But yeah, it's just one of those little bucket list type things that probably sit there, it's cost a fortune and I hardly ever use it.
Well, if you got a right precision one, it could be good fun because you could do your own pitot tubes.
Well, to be honest, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, you could do your own sort of gear bits and pieces, your own pitot tubes, you know, and anything like that. You know, and gun barrels even, and all of those little things because it's a small one. It's not a giant one.
Yeah.
This thing total size is probably, well, I measured it. It'll fit on one of my sections back there quite nicely. Obviously, you've got the mess of metal flying around and all the rest of it, and cooling liquids and that in there. So I'd have to probably organise a tray or something to catch it. But again, it's just one of those little bucket list things. I'd love to know how to do it.
Well, when you see these model engineers who make, you know, 96 Ferraris with a worked off the replica engine, and they've turned it all themselves, must be satisfying.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so Chris, micro set and sole is like hen's teeth here. I have found Mr. Mark's softener and setter. Sorry, setter and softener. Do either of you have any experience with this for decals?
Yeah.
You've got it, haven't you?
I
you
do,
use
yeah.
it.
It's brilliant. I always put just a little touch of setter on before the decal, and that helps it really bed down. And I also put, once I've got it set, I always put a little drop more on over the top. The softness fantastic. It doesn't shrivel up the decal like the microsol does, which is always a bonus. After it's been on there 20 minutes, so you can actually even go in with a cocktail stick, something just to press it onto the detail if needed, or into the panel lines. The only downside, when you're using especially the softener, if you put too much on and there's little droplets, it can eat into the decal and slightly damage it. So you need bare minimum. You only need a teeniest amount. But yeah, it's very good. It's a good
Right.
alternative. I prefer using it. I think you've got more control, I think, over than the Microsoft stuff.
Yeah.
It really is. It's good stuff. I'd say it's stronger. The softness definitely stronger.
Yeah. Cool. Right, so there we go.
Phantom
sold.
Brew.
Oh, look, you get the Phantom Brew.
Yay, Phantom Brew.
Where's mine? I've now got cold coffee in my bucket.
Cool.
I'm going to text the lad in a minute and say, are you up? I want a coffee. He must be up by now, so...
That's a good name, isn't it, actually? I forgot who came up with it, the Phantom Brew Maker.
Brew Maker. We were talking about our game tags, and we were saying some of the idiots that you see online and all the rest of it. And so, yes, I'm going to choke now on my coffee because it's gone down the wrong hole. That's it, Saturday morning, the bin men are here. You can tell it was a bank holiday on Monday. I can see through the blinds, little orange flashing lights all out there. Excuse me. Right. What else have we got? Ding, ding, ding. Sorry, that was Chris. Okay, Alan, he says, hi lads again. Talking about cockpits, this reminds me that I'm struggling to find the colour for Russian aircraft cockpits. It looks to be a very blue-green colour. It seems that the factories mixed up paints with what they had to paint the cockpits. Could you point me in the right direction so I can make a start on my Russian chapter? Right, okay, Alan, depends what you're talking about. Are you talking modern cockpits or like, you know, jet type cockpits, or are you talking the old World War II cockpits?
Sounds so he's on about that. You know, the kind of blue-green metallic look.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've got, to be honest, I have... You've got a couple of options on this. These are my two sort of ones. This is an acrylic, which is for that blue colour, for the, if you want the strong blue colour. And this is the one for my green, which is Russian interior green. It's an enamel, but it's quite good. But I must admit, I haven't reviewed it yet. I got it in the other day. Again, on my to-do list. I did get in this, okay, because this in here actually has, as you can see, in the turquoise cockpit blue, which is AK colour 2301, and it's got the interior green colour, which is AK 2303. Okay, so that is the thing. They are in here. So if you wanted to do the cockpit colours, or if you're looking for a Russian set, it's quite a handy one to get here, because if you're thinking of anything metally, it's all in, okay? So that way you've actually got the cockpit, if you want to do the cockpit grey, the cockpit green, the cockpit blue, all the internals and all the rest of it, it is in there on that set. So if you want to go down the acrylic route, even though this is a mixed media set, because you have got both, you've got obviously the extreme metals, but these are acrylic. Okay, so I must admit I bought it because I wanted the blue in an acrylic, you know, a nice one like that. So that's what I've gone with, is to have something like that. Oh, hey, look, we're doing on a roll today with all this stuff. Oh, I better not leave that in there, that's never going to work. Right, so, Owen is up. Hi guys, Phil, just wanted to thank you for sending me the replacement black wash. I received it yesterday. You're a gentleman. Give the best customer service. Thanks again. No problem about that, Owen. Anytime. Although don't tell that to everyone. Right. Are we up to date for the minute? Yep, we're up to date for the minute. Right, let me just check the other bits and pieces to make sure we haven't got zillions of socially media things.
Have you checked the Saturday live thread as well?
That's the one I'm reading off of, to be honest, mate. Right, okay. Because I thought we'd leave the Q&As for Q&As.
Yeah, well that's Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah. Live with Phil and Steve, answering all your questions that we bluff our way through. Bluffing it since 2008. Right, okay, happy with that. Right, so what I'm going to do now is an attempt to wash. Now Steve's done an enamel wash, So I'm going to try something different, just so we get a bit of a mash-up between all of us. So options, you could do an ink wash, you could make up your own type of wash, you could use a flory wash. Okay, so there's different ways of doing it to get the same thing. And down here, because it's recessed, you know, obviously washes are going to work quite well down in here, depending on which way you want to do it. Okay, so what I'm thinking of, let's do something a little bit different. Let's show you something different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use dark dirt wash with thinners.
I've got to say, I use it with water. Just thin it with water.
Yeah, you can do it with water, yeah.
Yeah, that works a treat.
Okay. As I say, you can do it with thinners, but if you're using it with thinners, because this isn't protected, the chances are you can eat your way through it if you're brushing it around. So, I think we will go down the water route just to play safe. Where's my tub of water gone? Right. So, because this stuff is obviously, yes, you could chuck it down now, but we're trying to make it more of an effect. Like Steve's done just the same with his. We want it to be that type of effect where it's just a hint. It's breaking up colour, it's giving what we call texture, dimensional change, scale effect, whatever you want to call it. You're just trying to make it look like, so when you look in there, it has a natural look to it, instead of being like what we are at the moment, which is basically grey, okay? So what we'll do is we're going to take water first and add wash into it. Now, to be honest, this is distilled water. Okay, it just makes it flow a little bit better. So if we give this a bit of a mash up. Okay. Now, I keep my brushes literally, as you might notice when you've, actually I don't think you've seen it yet, but this one here has got tape higher because this has got setter on it. I put them at different levels. Now if I was to stick this in my wash pot now, what's going to happen is, give it a couple of months and it's going to turn to grit. This is because it's got micro sole and set on it and stuff like that, and it just doesn't like the wash, okay? So that's why that's got tape around it, to remind me not to do that. This one on the other hand is a clean one. So what we're going to do is just going to decant a little bit out into here. Okay, so you've literally got it now like a wash, i.e. you can't really see too much of it going on. It should be a sort of a hint of, and obviously you could build up layers. I'm just going to take a little bit more. Okay. Okay, that's great. And then what we're going to do is literally just going to grab a bit. And you can see how watery this is. It's not a heavy duty type wash, and we can do literally just the same as Steve's done with his. And we can then go round, get this into all the areas, into the nooks and crannies and all the bits. But what I'm hoping with this may just work slightly different, because this will dry at different levels. So hopefully we want it to pool in some areas, and in some areas we want to, you know, gather up. Other areas should be quite thin. Okay. And then we're just going to come in here, we're going to go in here, down the sides. And the nice thing we're doing with water, obviously, you don't have to worry at all about your paintwork underneath. Okay. So you don't even have to seal it, which would be my preferred way of doing this, is to seal this. But actually, we're just going to run in dry and just putting it all in, like you can see here. And then we're going to leave it. Don't worry about bubbles, because they tend to pop. Okay, but what I am going to do, I'm just going to brush this over the equipment that we've put in as well, just to give it a more of a bit of a look. So we're just going to pop it round the internals. So it's going to give shadowing. We're going to rub all this off anyway, so don't worry too much about it. But it's just a way just to darken up everything down here in the front. Okay, and we're just going to let that dry. Just like that. We'll keep that out of the way and nice because we can come back and use that a little bit later, but hopefully you can see on both the cameras, as this dries, it'll dry a lot lighter. Okay, so that'll be the thing to it. Okay, so we just pop that off on one side to dry. Hey look, catching up seats.
Yeah, you'll some catch up.
Yeah, that's it. So this is what I mean about these seats. You see how these have dried beautifully? There's no brush marks in there. There's no, you know, nasties or anything else. Where if you tried to do this perhaps with a Tamiya or something else, these would have dried with perhaps brush marks in it and various things. But these have dried back absolutely flawlessly with no problem whatsoever. Okay, and that's what we're talking about, the beauty about using white top paints, because it's just they're thicker, and also you can see them down on here, they're absolutely fine still. They haven't dried out. They are drying out obviously, but you know, that would have been gone hours ago if it had been Tamiya or something else like that. Right, okay, so harnesses.
I think this is one of my least favourite jobs, putting harnesses on.
Yeah, I must admit, I hate it. Yeah, I do like the is it HGW People's ones.
Yeah.
Theirs is really, really nice. I like the way the fabric is, the way it just, you know, bends and folds and everything else like that. Right, we've only got 3 seats, haven't we?
Yeah. There's an extra one.
Yeah.
To be honest, I like it. You know, just mould the seat belts on.
Yeah.
You know, can be done very nicely.
Let's face it, there's just so many options you can actually do with seat belts. Yeah. You know, over the years I've shown, I think, everything from milliput, which used to be my usual way of doing it back in the day, but it just takes too long to do. White tack, and then painting it, sealing it and painting it, which I've done, which everyone still thinks falls apart, but I've got models in there of white tack harnesses and they're still fine. Okay. What else have we done other ways? Oh, lead wire, flattening out lead wire. Okay, and then painting that, which is a good one as well because it's nice. The other one you can do is off your wine bottles, you get the very thin lead or whatever it is sheeting. So if you do that as well, that's another little nice touch you can do. So you can actually then trim those to the right thickness. The great thing with using lead or lead effect is that it's malleable. You can actually bend it and curl it up and chuck it down like harnesses are. They are never like you see on here. I've yet to find a helicopter that has them perfectly 2 lines down and going out and just sits there. They don't tend to be like that. They tend to just be bunched up underneath because obviously you've got the slack lines and tying around you and all the rest of it. So yes, these are a little bit weird, but they've got the buckles and the bits and pieces on there and everything else like that. So how do they go on, Steve? They just flick over the back?
Yeah, you feed them through, you need to pinch them together so they go through the handle at the top.
Yeah.
And then I did mine.
Yeah.
I hate this camera view.
Got it, yeah.
So mine are like, oh, wrong way. No, what am I doing?
Other way.
That way, that's it.
Yeah.
So mine are like that at the back.
Right. Perfect.
But one way I did in the past is, it were on the Tamiya Sturmovich. The kit came with Daycall seat belts.
Oh yeah.
And I stuck the Daycall onto some foil.
Yeah.
And then after it had set, cut out the foil, trim round it, and then put them onto the model. And then you're able to bend it so it gives you that fabric look.
Yeah.
And that worked really well.
Yeah, I must admit, there's just so many different little options to do it that I think people sometimes over egg it. But I must admit, I don't like this type. I don't like the Edard photo etch set ones either, because to me they're just 2-dimensional. There's no movement in it.
Like the pre-painted ones, yeah, they look nice, but you've got to bend them. Every time you've bent them,
Yeah, they peel.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to paint them again anyway.
Yeah.
But they always come, because I like using especially the instrument panels, if it's all dials, the Edard instrument panels are just fantastic.
I must admit, they've really got that together, because in the early days they always used to be, I think the quality of the printing wasn't as high resolution as it is now. They always used to be quite grainy, but now they are absolutely crystal pin sharp, no problem at all. I prefer to do a instrument panel and even the side panels rather than going down the option of perhaps using a resin cockpit, because I think you get more detail, and because you're always going to be looking in on it from above as a rule, it's not like you're looking in from the side and can see all the switches and the bits and pieces. Yes, you don't get the texture, but you know, I think it is really, really nice the way that those go in from an effect. Now, I'm not saying I would use it perhaps on something big like a 30-second, because I think a nice resin cockpit in 30-second that's opened up is absolutely lovely. But you know, for anything sort of 70-second, 48th especially, I would be very happy to use a colour photo etch set. That's why I loved that G6 yesterday, that 109 G6. To me, that's like the perfect kit. If I'd gone out and bought that Saturday morning and brought it home, you know, you've got everything you need in that one kit to turn out an absolutely stunning model. You know, you've got full colour photo etch, you have got the harnesses, which admittedly are the photo etch type, but you've got everything in there, the mask set, you've got an amazing kit and all the rest of it, you know, so I think personally it's a bit of a winner, that one.
Well, I'm still, even on one of 30 seconds, you can get the Haddad zoom sets. Just use the instrument panel if need be, especially World War II stuff, because it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
it really does. And you can't or even early jet aircraft where it's all dials. Just go get one of them, and even if you're using a resin cockpit, you can still stick it in there, but it just lifts the model, I think.
Yeah. And that's the other thing as well. I think, you know, modelers, you get some modelers who'll buy all the optional extras and all the bits and pieces, the aftermarket stuff for it, and they'll feel obliged to use it all, where I'm more of a person that will cherry pick what I want to use. I don't know why I've cut two of them out. So what I might do is say, I might do, like Steve said, just use the instrument panel. I have a resin side, but I use the instrument panel because I can't paint dials to save me life. And I don't really want to put all the individual dials into it because it takes forever. So into the bezels and stuff. So by just doing a colour photo etch one like that would be absolutely fantastic. You know, a nice, easy option of doing it. But again, you know, it's the things like, you know, you get some, with me, I will cherry pick the photo etch. I'll just pick out the bits of the photo etch I want to use, and then I'll leave the rest, you know. I won't mess around with it too much. Typical. That's my phone. It'll be my parents on the phone. Yeah, it is. Yep, it's me mother. At least he's up. I can get a coffee now. He's in filming. I need a little red light outside my door.
You do, yeah.
Right. Did you paint yours before putting them on?
No. This should be easier to paint when they're on, actually.
Oh, right. Tell her I'll ring her back. I have a coffee, though. You want to do this coffee? Do you want to say hello to the world whilst you're here? Nobody's met you before. You have to come down here. All right, we'll bring it back.
That's the kill. Leave me alone.
Yes, I knew it was them. They were threatening to come round. So, we'll come round and see you at the weekend. I'm like, don't forget I'm working Saturday morning. I'm filming. And they've obviously forgotten. Right.
Couldn't work out if you were filming or not.
Yeah, I am. We're live.
Oh, yeah.
Live to the world. Look, everyone. Here's my lad. Stick your head down there because they can see you on that camera. Who I must admit, I tried to get him to do modelling, but he's more into Lego, which is amazing when you think he's 24. Yes, can I have a coffee, please?
Yes.
Cheers, mate.
You can get serious money from making Lego.
I know. Thing is, it's serious money to buy Lego. That's the thing, isn't it?
You see that documentary? About,
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
about
what a
the,
dream
yeah.
job that would be.
Oh yeah. No, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Okay, so you might be able to see this is drying back. Okay. It's a little bit darker than Steve's, but when this totally dries back, then we'll take it off. Because usual thing with the wash, you want to make it sure it's completely dry before you take it off. But you can see it's clinging in all the usual bits and pieces. All the suspects have got it. Okay, so once that's totally dry, then we'll come back in and we'll pull it off, rub it back, blend it, whatever ways we want to do with it. All right, so Right.
Do
So how do these lock to the rear then? Do they just literally poke round the back?
yeah, I just shove mine in the back. To be honest, you won't really see.
No, that's right.
But just by looking at those two holes on the back, I think that's probably where they go, and down to a bar about and then towards the floor.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
The lap belts, I took them right under the sides. The first one, you can see on the first one, I didn't really tuck it under the side.
Mhm.
Where am I? Right. Getting used to this backwards. There we go.
Got
See
ya.
how I didn't tuck
Oh
it
yeah,
to the
yeah.
side. But on the other ones, I've tucked it on, so I'm going to have that as the rear seat. But to be honest, I can't remember what colour they were.
No. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. See you at coffee this week, everyone. I was abandoned 2 weeks ago. Nobody here. Well, they were, but I never got a coffee. Do you want to take her wrap while she eats everything?
Well, tip the waiter.
Yeah. Hey, look, he had a good tip the other week. I bought him a car.
Oh, all right for some.
Well, I say bought him a car. He had Mel's old one.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it looks, hey?
Do what?
No, I'm looking at the seat belts and I can't figure out. We've gone totally wrong.
Have we?
Yeah. It's hard to work out, actually, from the images we've got, where they fixed. But there's no clear image of it, Phil, of the reference pictures.
Because I was going to bend mine a little bit like this.
Yeah. Well, it don't go through the loop. You can't see. That's the problem.
Oh, right.
Right, he's fixed them up there. And by the looks of it, all the straps that are round about that I can see are black.
Right.
Yeah, they're definitely black like normal seat, but I think that's a good way of putting them on. You can't really tell from them images.
Hmm.
So I need a black. Got a flat XF1. And also that handle on top of the seats looks as though it's coated in a foam black.
Right. D. Right, okay, so grab my favourite colour. God, when he makes a coffee and I'll fill it up, I'm amazed he can carry it.
God, you're a grateful sod. You complained all last show that you didn't get a coffee, and then for the next full week about it. Then when you do get a coffee, you complain.
I know. Well, I've never. He's got 8 gallon in that one. Right. Okay. So pick up. Right, black round handle at top. Check. Okay.
You see, you've caught up totally now. It's 'Cause I'm a lot slower than you.
I'm just winging it. Yeah, I haven't got my harnesses fitted yet. I'm going to paint them as a separate.
Oh, okay.
Only because I'm crap at painting, so you just know that's like an accident waiting to happen. So I think what we'll do is we'll grab this little fella in the middle, and we'll just whip the paint around here. Dee-dee-dee.
Oh, I've just missed.
Right, okay. So we have little jobbies, and I'll do the silver bit afterwards. I think these are probably one of the most useful items you can ever have in modelling, is spring-loaded clamps. What did we do before they came along?
Oh, them tweezer things, yeah.
Yeah, because they just hold everything, don't they?
And you can pick them up really cheap if you.
To be honest, I bought some of these at a one of these sort of tool places, and they have a lot of second stuff and various things, and like old sort of hospital gear and all that type of thing. And they have just trays and trays and trays of these things just lying there. And I picked up, I don't know, well, I've got loads of them, absolutely loads of them now. Yeah, it was peanuts, absolute peanuts. I think there was something like, I don't know, 50p each. Yeah, I remember paying like £5 for the Tamiya ones.
Yeah.
I was
about to say that, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's got model, they charge a lot more, £2 more for a set than what you can pick up normally.
Yeah. Funny enough, how I found it when I bought them was there was a company and they replaced bearings, and it was my old Ritmax compressor. Talking about compressors again, and the bearings used to go every couple of years. It used to get really, really hot. Was always the first sign the bearings are on the way out. You touch the motor and it would burn your hand, and then it would cut out, and eventually it would make so much noise you couldn't hear yourself. So you knew it was time for the bearing change, and I phoned up this company and said, yeah, we do all of that, bring it down, shouldn't be a problem, it'll probably be standard bearing size, we can do it whilst you wait. I was like, oh, that's handy. So I turned up this little compressor, and they've got like, JCBs out the front and all this stuff. And in there, they've got all these tools and various hire equipment and tons of these bins of this stuff. And in there, I bought loads of them. They're like dental ones for rescribing, that came from there. Loads of different stuff.
Well, there's something like, is it reverse tweezers?
Yeah.
Reverse action tweezers, they call them. But Keith picked me a load up from a little shop near where he lives. And you can never have enough of them.
No. Although I must admit, down at Trago, they've got that tool section, like you've seen it. You go in there and you think, I'll just get some tweezers or something, and you come out spending a fortune. Because it's like, I need a set of them, they'll be handy. And that is my thing. I am a complete sucker for tools.
Yeah, so am I.
But if you don't have tools, remember you can take your normal tweezers and stick a peg on it, and now it's lockable tweezers. So if you haven't got any, like we're saying about these ones down here, you can actually just pop this in and then stick her on the end like that. And also these come in quite handy because they make handy little stands whilst things are drying. So you can just paint it on the end like this, okay, and then you can stand it like that. Dead handy, okay, so you don't always need to run out and spend a fortune on these various things, because there's usually a cheaper alternative. And it works for anything as well. You can use it as sort of spring ones.
good reason why you should always have a look in Cheapskate Corner.
Yeah.
Some wonderful stuff that people.
Oh, some great ideas in there, isn't it? Okay. The last one. Although are we harnesses short? Harnesses. No. Okay. One more. Dee. Right.
At least you can do yours a lot quicker than me.
Yeah, I've got to try and glue them in without making a mess yet. Okay, let's just move these out of the way and I can talk about, I've got to tidy up the wash on the deck yet. Let's stick all of them down there. Right, that's my spare. Right, okay, so as you can see now, well, hopefully you can see, this is all totally dry. So in traditional florymodels fashion, we have cotton buds. To start with, do it dry just to see what happens. And to be honest, because this is over a flat coat, as you can see, not a lot's going to come off. So, going to wet it, back of the hand to take off most of the moisture. And then we're just going to lightly rub over. And don't forget, you're trying to transfer as well. So like where Steve on his was doing various little techniques, we can do similar things. I'm not saying exactly the same, but we can add and take away grime and dirt as we like as well. Okay. So hopefully you can see that deck area now. All right, and then down the front here. And remember, the more moisture that's on the cloth, the more you're going to take off, the less you've got in there. But you can actually blend with the cotton bud better than using something like a paper towel, because the trouble with the paper towel is it tends to take a little bit too much, where you can be a little bit more refined. Okay, so we can scuff, we can make clean areas perhaps in some areas, dirtier areas in others. We can transfer, move it round. Okay, so like in here, I'm just going to make it a little bit cleaner. Okay, down here, the front. All those areas. And perhaps I'm thinking, you know, I don't know, middle of the floor might be a little bit cleaner because it's always being scuffed, where the edges might be a little bit more dirty because it's just trapping dirt down in there and things like that. Okay, so really it's how you want to work it. Alright, so now I'm gonna, these areas are going to be quite clean obviously at the top. Like we were saying, if this was an Afghan Black Hawk or something else like that, then obviously you'd leave this and go for your life. Okay, but because this is supposed to be a very much more of a clean aircraft and probably highly looked after, I would have thought, being a search and rescue bird, we're just doing this wash everywhere to give us shadow effects, you know, a little bit of texture, things like that, but generally day-to-day grime and stuff like that is not really going to have it. Just want to pop under here. Okay, right the way around, just a little bit more in here. Okay, so there's our floor, just like that now. So it's got that grime and texture in all the recesses, but it's not heavy, it's not like black grime down there and all the rest of it. Okay, it's just a sort of normal sort of griminess and dirtiness down in there, just like so. Okay, so that's that done. Don't hit the bomber. Get rid of those. Right, any more questions? Get down in here. Okay, so
I've got to say, Phil, should we just skip the little seat belts and just go on to talking about the glazing section,
yeah,
which is next? It's a doubt in what we've got to do that we'll have time to seal it up this week anyway.
yeah.
So instead of boring all the members with us painting seat belts,
Mm-hmm. Have you fitted your instrument panel yet?
yeah, mine's
Oh,
like that now.
and you've done the black work inside your cockpit. Oh, oh. Suppose I ought to get mine on then.
Look at that. You can see. It's hard to see on the inside, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really nice actually. The simple little bits of. You can see how the wash now. I still can't get used to it. There we are. You see how the wash has just dried right back, so you've just got a subtle griminess now.
Yeah.
That's all you're after.
Mm-hmm.
So you always remember, especially with enamel washes, they do dry a lot lighter.
Yeah.
So it's given a quite pleasing effect.
Right, okay, let me get my instrument panel in. Okay, so that's my instrument panel in there now. Where did you take your, you've done roof to back? Got you. I'll do mine by hand just for speed.
Oh, what, you're on the inside there?
Yeah, just doing the black work for the inside.
It seems to be all the cockpit area is black, and then it's just a bit of grey.
Yeah.
The rear cabin.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay, so... need a wash, I think. Okay, Bob Ross, Mr. Big Old Brush time. Let's just have the wash on it.
Yeah, when you've done that, we'll talk about the glazing and our plan of action.
What, how we're going to wing it?
Yeah. And also, there's, like I say, the tail rods needs sorting out. You can definitely tell it's warming up now in the UK.
Yeah, they forecast a bit of a heat wave, don't they?
Yeah, well, I can tell as I'm brushing, the paint's drying a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So for those who live in really hot countries with no air conditioning, bloody hell, they have fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm off with Snap to sunny, is it Mallorca? One of them. Mallorca, Minorca. I can never remember which one it is. In a couple of weeks.
Oh, that'd be nice.
5 weeks. That was a bit of a thing. We weren't even sure we were going to go.
Well, you go every year, don't you? So.
Yeah, but the trouble is, it's getting harder and harder to do it because of the kids. The airlines are getting so tight now on travel restrictions for disabilities because they want to know the ins and outs of absolutely everything about the kids, what's wrong with them, you know, any special needs they might have and everything else, and obviously all the medical equipment we have to take.
Yeah.
So it's just becoming an absolute nightmare. But I must admit the guys have done exceptionally well. And obviously it's finding a hotel that can cope as well. So it's not as quite as simple, I think, as just booking a holiday and off we all go. So yeah, that's the trouble with that one. Right, I don't think the bottom is particularly required, but we'll give it just a bit more down there, just to make sure we're all in. Okay. Right, 1 and 2.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if it ends up where you have to restrict it to the UK.
Yeah, that's right. Although we have said it would be nice perhaps if we did a UK one year. You know, I know the families like obviously going abroad and that, but as I say, some lovely parts in the UK we could go to as well that would cater.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see. But I know they had a real hard time this year finding something on an airline that's happy to take. As I say, if it's just 1 or 2, I think you don't have a problem. But when you turn around and say, well, actually, there's about 60 of us, it causes a few headaches because obviously seating arrangements, stuff like that. Because normally they give us the entire front of the plane because it's just easy getting the kids on and off that need carrying.
Unfortunately, now it's all stems to money, don't it?
Yeah.
You know, if it.
Anyway, Flo's making her way round nicely.
Oh, brilliant!
So on the way to Tom now in Vegas to go and go round to the Bellagio.
Oh, how lucky!
So hopefully we get some nice photos of Flo in front of the Bellagio.
Well, don't you think me and you better go out there just to supervise?
Well, I think so as well. Yeah, we could just pop over. And then from there, she's going down to the Indianapolis 500 for the race. And then, as I say, she's got some quite exciting things coming up around the US. We're hoping to get her in with a B1 crew.
Now, you see, if I were the person taking Flo to the Indianapolis, I'd write to one of the teams.
Yeah.
And tell them what it's doing, and then you never know, you might get a pit lane pass or go meet the team.
Or Flo goes round in the car.
Yeah. Now that would be cool. You see, that could happen.
Right, so if anybody's watching this who's gone in with an Indy 500 team.
But could you just imagine though if something went wrong and poor Mo Flo, all you could see on the TV coverage is this poor little teddy boy getting flung out of the car.
Thrown through the air.
Getting run over by all the others. Oh. It'd be quite amusing for us, but
yeah, poor Flo. We've decided now Flo's female as well. Because everybody keeps on saying about is Flo male or female, because we never decided before she left. And sorry, I'm losing my ears. So yeah, we have decided now that Flo is definitely female. Purely because you probably get in easier. Not being sexist or anything, but...
Right, I'll do a bit of touch-up work on this.
Right, you do that. I'll just do some more questions. Are you happy to go longer than 11?
Yeah, I can go on till whenever.
Oh well, here we are. 4 in the morning. Hello. Oh, we can go a bit longer. Right, okay. That's sending me the replacements. Okay, so Neil says, hi Phil and Steve, love all the hard work you do for the site. I'm pretty much, I am on pretty much every day, just to watch the vlogs and to watch the builds I'm present. Okay, I come from the tabletop modelling background. So have a few Valero model colour, the white top paints, rather than the Model Air ones. I also have their thinner. Please could you give me the thinner to paint ratio for white top paints? Right, okay. I have to buy the same Model Air colour as the white ones I already have. Right, okay. Thinning it is... You know, as we said, it's very different to different areas, how your weather is, your humidity and everything else like that. A good starting place really is going to be, I reckon, probably around about 60% thinners for this stuff. It is very thick. I've only used it once, airbrushing it properly, and that was back in the day, Christ, that would have been around like 2006, 2007 when I did the Draken, because the only colour I could find for the undercolour was the with the white tops, and we thinned it. And I said then, this stuff's brilliant because the value for money is exceptional because it's just all thinners. And I think then my mix was roughly 60% thinners to paint, and that was a thick mix. So I'd probably go 70% thinners to paint. But again, you just want to bung it into a clear cup and then just add thinners until it looks your normal type of paint mix, and then go from there, and then adjust it on the fly as it's in your paint cup. If you're finding it spitting a little bit, then obviously up your air pressure. Still spitting a bit and it's struggling, obviously drop a thinner in there, mix it, blow it through, then see what you've got, so forth and so on. Okay, so just, it's one of those things that I'm a great believer in not telling people these days air pressures and thinner ratios, because everybody's different. Okay, and also it depends on how you work. I tend to spray a thicker paint, as you might know. Recently though, I've been switching it out to use the AK stuff, and apparently the mixed stuff is just the same, is by thinning it more. So you go a thinner paint, then knock your air pressure back, you move in closer, lighter coats, let it dry, second coat, third coat, fourth coat in a lot of cases, and you end up with a far superior, smoother finish, but it's taken a lot longer. So it depends if you're talking speed versus finish. You know, if you're doing it quick, I would say a thicker paint, 2 coats and you're done. You know, their stuff maybe 4 or 5 coats, then it's done. So it's totally up to you. Thanks again for all your hard work, and long may it keep up. It's well worth the money charged. How comes everyone's mentioning money at the moment? Okay, Chris, with my 148 Airfix kit, the engine is part of the fuselage halves. The Humbrol colour 33 black. Any suggestions on how to liven it up? Just do a dry brush. Okay, if you've got the metallizer type paints, the what they called Mr. Metal colours, dark iron and then dry brush it. Trust me, it looks stunning. It's my standard way of doing engines, especially World War II engines where they were black, and then there's a lot of shininess comes through with them because you can play with the textures. If not, yeah. Again, the rubber black's quite a nice colour. It's got that bluey hint to it as well, so it looks a little bit more different. Dry brushing it will give you a great finish on that one. Agreed, Steve?
Yeah, I tend to use NATO black, and then I can use maybe a satin black then, to add a bit more detail to the engine, just in little places. So maybe a fresh chip, you know, you can go over some of the raised details with it and stuff like that. It'll just give you another dimension to it.
Yeah, definitely. Russell, hi guys, enjoying the Saturday morning build with the banter. Saturday working on my 132nd viewfighter. Shape is great, fit is not, and ejector pin marks. I'm sure the Grand Canyon is less deep in places. Keep up the great work, loving the new vlog too. Thank you, Russell. Right, Brian Thomas, morning guys, loving the show. What's the benefit of mixing thinners with the wash as opposed to water? Capillary action. If you're using normal tap water, okay, it doesn't flow quite as well, purely because of all the bits that's in it. If you're using distilled water, you'll find it'll flow better. But if you're using thinners and you want it to go like a capillary action, i.e. you touch it and it just zips off and goes around all... If you're doing something with lots of detail, lots of small detail, I would probably use the thinner and literally just touch it and it will flow. Purely because thinners is so much thinner than standard water. The molecules are different and it just enables the capillary action to flow. Also, if you're doing something where it's touching, then thinners, but if you're using something that you're going to be brushing around, working it in and playing with stuff, then obviously I would recommend using distilled water. Also, if you don't want to use distilled water, just boil the kettle and do it that way, okay? So, yeah, that's really it. There's no mass difference in it, it's just workability with it all. Chris Hodge, hi Phil and Steve, thanks for another great show. I'm glad I've retired to keep up with all the shows, etc. An old-fashioned question. I'm working on an old monogram saber. What is the best way to replace the old raised panel lines? Okay, well, there's a couple of videos obviously up on the site about rescribing and all the rest of it. You've got a couple of options that I would do. Sand them off, because you will see where they were. Okay, so just sand the entire lot off and you will see the white marks in the plastic where they were, and then you can just rescribe them all like that. Or you can go down right next to them and put them all in, but obviously they will be slightly stepped off to one side, but in the great scheme of things I don't think anyone will notice. Okay, you know, and do it like that. So Steve, how would you do it?
Yeah, that's the way I'd do it. Definitely,
Yeah.
like just sand it off. Like you say, you always see it. And,
Yeah.
only other option is just to leave it as it is.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say, when you do new metal finishes as well and all the rest of it, you could leave, new metal finish, natural metal finish, you could leave it because, as I say, recess with washes on, being metalizers, I don't know, it's one of the few times I think you could get away with both. Okay, Right, okay, so Steve says, hi Phil and Steve. Phil, as an ex-model engineer who built 3.5-inch steam locomotives, have you thought of pulling one end of the brass tubing have you thought of pulling one end of the brass tube and slightly filling it with silica sand and then plugging the other end at the top tube and then crimping and bending it? Slight heat source will help. Regards, Steve. Now, it's funny you mentioned that, Steve, because in my previous lives, I was an engineer, air conditioning engineer, and we used to play with pipes and various bits and pieces and stuff like that. And then what we used to do is obviously what we're talking about here. And sometimes when we didn't have it, we used to do the old sand trick of putting sand inside the pipes to bend it, then flush it all out afterwards, and away you go if you didn't have the right size or something. So I know what you're getting at there. The trouble I've got is I'm used to working things like copper and stuff like that, but this brass tube is so thin, as you say, it just crimps and bends and absolutely hates it. And I'm hoping it'll turn out. I had a dispatch note saying it was coming on Tuesday or something, and it's still not here now. So I'm a little bit aniffed, and trust me, they will not be getting positive feedback. But that is the trouble. It is here. I did think about actually putting a heat source onto it as well, but there again I'm worried about, because I want to retain the colour of the copper itself. I don't want to put any heat into it, particularly because it might change it, and then trying to polish it out and all the rest of it could be a little bit of a nightmare, because I intend to really polish that up to a mirror, and I might even lacquer it in afterwards, I'm not sure. But that is it. So we are literally just waiting on, but because it's got a 1mm diameter difference between it, so it's only 0.5 millimetre difference all the way around, it is just literally a nightmare. The only thing I thought about doing is putting all the others inside it, or something else like that, just to stop it collapsing. But I've tried it a couple of times freehand as well, and it always collapses in on itself because it's too thin. I think I'll just wait up for that. Somebody did give me the proper name for it the other day, but I've forgotten it. Again, the spring inside it just to hold it open. To say I've got an 8mm spring coming, and all the bits and pieces to do it. Once it's here, it's dead handy. It'll be straightforward. I'm just literally waiting for it to come in. But yeah, the silica sand one is a great one. Obviously, and it was used in, what was the film? Oh God. God, somebody's going to say this to me now, but they used it to bend pipe. They were marooned. God. Flight of the Phoenix. I don't know if it's the new one or the remake or the old one, but they did the same thing. They needed to bend pipe to make a still to make water, so they could get the antifreeze out of the water. So they made basically a still to do it, and he did the same thing by putting sand in the pipe and then bending it all the way around, stop it collapsing and kinking. So yes, thank you, Steve, definitely. But if it doesn't turn up, then obviously I'll kick off big time. But for the moment, I'm hoping we'll be okay. Right, okay, where are we to? Where are we? Right, my phone worked. Right, let's do those. Right, just make sure we're all good. So right, that's just the normal one. Right, okay, so right, that's just all normal stuff coming in. So keep questions coming, guys. We're going to go on for a little bit longer. Right, okay, that's us up to date. Coffee break.
We're on to the glazing now, Phil.
Right, glazing. Check.
And it starts. So if you look at the instructions, they're on page.
Instructions?
Yeah. I think I've noticed a problem.
Right. And what is that?
If you look stage 6 at the bottom,
Yeah.
part K24, it tells us to put a window in the top.
Right.
Now, if you look, I'm going by the decals. If you look,
Yeah.
it should be glazed at the bottom and it in. You look at part K24,
Yeah.
the bottom window's filled in with plastic and there isn't a window for it.
Ah.
But on the other side there is. Weird. I don't know.
Ah.
So unless we can have... There's no we can do really.
So right, so U1 is a solid piece of plastic. So
Well,
he
it's
doesn't have a
K20.
window on the starboard side.
Yeah, if you look at K24
Yeah.
and the window's U2.
Yeah.
Now, there isn't a glass panel in the bottom. If you look at K22, which I had it a minute ago. Where is it gone now? There it is. Which is that part there,
Yeah.
where my finger is. It's filled in. Yeah, the other side's normal, but I'm just wondering.
Do we have a reference shot? Perhaps they don't have a window, because that would be...
Yeah, on this decal it does. She shows it does.
Is it just because it's a generic drawing?
I don't know.
Because on the instructions here, it shows it again
I don't know.
being slightly different. If you look on here, where are both of them? You can see we've got the smaller one here,
But you look at the
but
door
a
next.
huge one on that one.
No, it's the door window, which is
Oh, what? The main door one? This
not
one?
that one. The next one.
Yeah, that's right.
You see, that's showing it as glazed, but the kit part isn't. It's filled in. If you look at part K24, unless I've been looking at all the wrong stuff, which no one may have.
Hold on. If I find me doors, I'll be alright.
Yeah, it's
Right.
definitely filled in.
Okay, K24 is definitely filled in, yeah.
Yeah.
There's not another door somewhere, is there, for a different version?
No.
God, you're not going to make me put an extra window in, are you?
No,
In a window.
We might have to leave it because the windows are curved, aren't they? It's like,
Yeah, but it's not much on there. You could do that.
yeah. I'll
It's a
just have a
slight
look.
curve.
I'll just get some reference pictures up.
So what Steve's getting at here, this is what we're talking about. You see, we've got an open one and a closed one. This one, according to all the references, is open as well. So why
hang
they...
on.
Hang on.
Yeah, it's definitely glazed.
It is glazed.
Yeah.
So why have they done it as solid?
God knows.
Well done, Trumpeter. Screwing up kits since when did they start? But the thing is... No, forget that. Get
Yeah,
your
it's
head in.
definitely glazed.
So why have they done it in thingy? There must be a version then that has it as a solid.
Unless it's the, which is the...
Let's just hoof these off the sprues a minute.
door theme. Where's the normal theme? Well, I'm looking at a Swiss one.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a Korean one. Or it's got a Korean, or is it Swiss? I don't know. But the other one's clear glass door. Um,
So one of the options you could do here, which I might have a play with, is to physically paint these with Micro Sol R.
they're all. I'm looking at the Panther version as well, and that's clear door as well. So why they've done that?
So this is the problem we've got here, guys. We're saying is that we've got, it should be like this one, open, but it's not, it's moulded shut. And also we've only got one piece of glass as well. Now the curve on the glass is there, but I'm just, you know, to cut in here and then blend it in, yes, it's all doable, but it's not easy doable.
Be an absolute nightmare, to be honest.
To paint a window in.
Well, you'd have to use clear styrene, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But then you get the yeah, it's.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's a well done, trumpeter.
Yeah, well done, trumpeter. Brilliant. Thanks for this. Good job they're not sponsoring us.
No.
I'll get in trouble again.
But to be honest, it's a stupid error.
Well, it's, why would, I assume there must be a version somewhere that has, there you go guys, for you guys who are at home, who have different versions of this kit, whip off now and have a look in the instructions just to see if your version happens to have the closed area.
Like I say, I've got the other one, but it's in the stash.
Yeah.
Buggering around for, oh, what's my language, messing around for 10 minutes. Fine.
Yeah.
But all these types, they always have glass doors.
Yeah, I would have thought so, because it's,
yeah.
you know, they have pilot, co-pilot, and, you know, the co-pilot does need to look down by his feet as well, you know.
But what we can do, Phil, is have a think about it. Before
I have got clear styrene sheet here.
Yeah.
But it's going to be getting that curve, because I didn't think it was a big curve, but now I'm looking at it, that is a very big curve actually.
It is, yeah.
So to try and curve it and then cut it and then polish it in and everything that that's going to entail.
It might be just a case of leaving it.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Or you could cut it out and leave it. That's what we were saying, it's had a replacement window.
I think
he's just got off to get it.
It might be a case, let's leave that door open.
Yeah.
And it won't look as bad. If you leave the door open, your eye will draw straight into the interior rather than look problem door. But yeah, that's a good one. Well done. Right, you 5.
So what I'm thinking is here is, obviously I haven't used it fully in anger yet, but the Micro R, Sol R, is literally like paint. It's not your traditional solutions, if you like, that are like quite rubbery and they sort of peel up and all the rest of it. So I'm thinking about painting the clear parts before I fit them.
All right, yeah.
And then just seeing what will happen. Or fit them, then paint them. But that'll be a little bit more harder. But this stuff, as you'll see in a minute, because I'm going to give it a whirl anyway, when you put it on, it's very reminiscent of paint. So instead of it sort of pulling away from the edges and bubbling up on itself, this stuff just lays. And once it's dry, it has no rubberiness, is it rubbery? I don't know. Effect at all. It literally is just like paint. So it's quite handy for doing sort of normal jobs. And to be honest, it's been on the Halifax now for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm just hoping it's going to come off.
Well, the other stuff's more ammonia based, where I think that's more of a latex based.
Yeah.
Don't know, does it say it on their official booth?
Get the lid off. Right, let me give this a good shake.
And
We'll give it a whirl and just stick it on here and see what happens. The biggest thing you'll notice is the colour of this stuff. So if I just...
Yeah, it describes the normal Nia as elastic rubber.
Right.
Even after drying.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be cut. But I haven't got the new stuff on. It's in the booklet. No, I haven't got anything on the new stuff. That's what it says about the old.
Right. But as you notice on this, you can do quite a thin coat. It doesn't have to be massively thick. And it does tend to just hold its own. Although saying that, this is a bit too thin. It needs a certain amount, otherwise it won't have enough bite on there. But let's just have a play with this stuff. All the stuff that goes to the inside, I'm going to pre-paint. All the stuff goes.
I think I might try it because I'm going the wrong way. In fact, because I'm putting the large window in, which is U5.
Yeah.
And it's got a kind of a lip, so it fits in securely. So I might just put that in first and then paint it.
Mm-hmm.
It might just make it easy. Different ways of doing it.
Well, that's it. That's the whole point of doing this. We can show different ways. Like, Trinius, U5, U6, I'm going to put in afterwards. These are these ones here. These two up here. Because you can reach through the open door and put them in afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking with there.
And I know people, I always use a bit of extra thin when I'm doing it on this style of window.
Yeah.
Because it's not got to fog up.
Yeah.
Because it can, obviously the fumes can escape.
The S1s, they're all going to have to be pre-done. Is that...
Oh, he says as it touches the glass. Idiot. Go. Just move it down so people can see again what I'm... They might be interested to see what I'm doing. So that's the first window in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here now. You can see it there.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah. So now I can put the masking on afterwards. I'll leave it properly dry for a bit though first.
Yeah.
It'll start strengthening up as well. U6.
It's funny, you know, because this stuff normally, traditionally, doesn't bubble up. And I haven't found it bubble up on anything, but I don't know if it's the plastic or what it is, but for some reason, on this one, it is bubbling up on itself.
I don't know. Like I say, I've tested it on a canopy, on an old canopy, and part of it, and it works a treat.
Hmm. So there we go. Let me just move that out a fraction. The only thing is with this stuff, it does take quite a while to dry. It's not like an instant drying thing with this. Literally leave it to a side to go off for a little while, because otherwise it literally is going to take forever. And the usual thing, if you rush it, you're going to wreck it. Okay.
One thing I'll definitely paint first before putting it in is the gloss green roof, the clear green.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I always struggle doing. Don't know why.
As I say, you've got a couple of options with that. You can either go through the technique of actually airbrushing it on and then gloss it, and that gives you a very nice clear finish and all the rest of it. 'Cause sometimes airbrushing you get that sort of texture, or thin it and put it on by hand. But the trouble if you do that, if it's on a curve, it always pull up thicker in the deepest area, so it's not an easy one to do to get right. You know, both options are there, but it depends on which way you want to do it.
And also, if you do that way, I've found that when you come to rest it, if it ain't perfectly flat, you wait for it to dry, you can just gradually move to one corner.
That's right. You just pull up somewhere else.
Pain in the rear.
Okay, where are we? Steve says, hi Phil and Steve, just another query. I'm at present doing a 1/32 Tamiya F15E for the group build. I've come to a stop as the Tamiya decals are so brittle. Am I doing anything I can... Sorry, I'm doing everything I can them, but they're just falling apart. Have you ever, either of you, have any tips? Buy new ones.
Yeah.
Honestly, for years I've fought with decals and other bits and pieces, and I'm a great believer in now, if they're failing and you've got problems with them, save yourself a lot of heartache, and for the sake of £7 or whatever they are, a tenner, go and buy some other ones. Or post it up in the forum, ask the other members. Somebody might have a decal sheet with like a particular scheme or something left on it that you're after, and various bits and pieces like that. But you know, trying to save decals, once they start to crack and break and they've gone brittle, you're onto a loser because it's very, very hard to do it. Okay, so Joe has put, my version is different for sure, lads, but it has 13 seats. Stupid photo etched seat belts and all. Yeah, but has yours got the extra window for the door as it's supposed to?
And if it does, can we have it?
Yeah, and if it does, can we have one each?
Yeah, send them.
Can you make us another one? Yeah. 13.
Well,
Can you squeeze 13 in this? Christ.
If
Two,
it's benches in middle of
3, 4,
but
5,
yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Christ, that's a lot, isn't it? Didn't think you get 13 in one. Right, okay. Colin Atkins says, hi Phil and Steve. It's 10:16 Saturday night here in New Zealand, and I'm watching you lying in bed on my laptop. Okay, steady. No questions, but I'm really enjoying the live Saturday show. Also liking the new version of the vlog. I do have a question. Do you prefer Edard or Montex masks? I have a little problem with the Montex ones as they are hard to get to conform to more complex curves and they seem to leave more residue. Keep up the great work to both of you. To be honest, yes, I find that's the same. The Montex ones are that sort of plasticky. I have got some, if I don't hang myself, just to show everybody. Oh God, I'm moving around the wheels now. Is it that one or the next one? Where are we? It's in here actually. Where's my Montex mask? Do I move them somewhere? Sorry, I don't know what I've done with them now. Oh, there they are. Right, okay. So what we're talking about is, have I got any others? Crikey, look at all the stuff you have. Right, right, okay, that'll do. Right. So what we're talking about here is these two. You've got the Montex ones, which are these, okay, and your standard Edard. Standard Edard is more like your Tamiya tape, if you like. So we know how that works. These guys, though, are slightly different because it's on a different type of surface. It's like a paper, but I tend to find this is more plasticky. It's more like a plastic than it is an actual a standard tape like you might find in here. The trouble with these as well, and you're quite right, Colin, I've had that trouble as well, you do tend to get residue. This one isn't so bad because they're tiny and I don't think you get too much off of this one. This is one for a 747-800, okay, but I found them on other models when I've used them that sometimes they can be a little bit sticky for when they come off. So when you try and remove the residue, what happens is that you end up little bits of stickiness left behind, and then you try and wipe it off and they get pushed around your model and it's not very nice, okay. But I think it's one of those things. Sometimes if you're doing quite a complex something else like that, then it could be worth. My personal choice would be I would go with the Edard ones. I quite like those. I like the way they do it. The only thing I don't like with the Edard ones is sometimes where they give you the outlines of a canopy instead of doing the entire thing. So, you know, I always think by the time I put the outside on and fiddle that all the way around, I might as well just put it on myself. So yes. Any more? Any more? Nope, we're all quiet at the moment. Right, how are you getting on, Steve?
Yeah, I've got 3 windows in.
Hold on, I'll put it over to you. Where are we? 4? There we go. To you, to me, Barry.
Looking at that one, you can see I've got 3 in. 2
Oh,
large
yeah.
ones in the front one.
Very nice.
If we're waiting for your glue, we can just skip on if you want, and then
Right.
and go to the tail rotor.
The tail rotor system.
Yeah, which is on step 8.
Oh yeah, got you.
And then if we go up to here, then next stage just join everything together, isn't it?
Yeah. So yes, this is the part we're on to now. Is this guy just here?
And the next we can see how we join them together and the fun we have with that.
What do we B? Which sprues B? Sprue B should be quite easy to spot. It's got a freaking tail rotor attached to it. Right, that'll be it. Ugh.
Never thought of that.
Okay, so here we have B.
Oh, I haven't used B yet. Still in its bag.
Tell you what, I've got a cunning plan here. Instead of me doing this, if I do that, right, and then we do this, hold on. I have a cunning plan, Baldrick. Oh god, the Halifax is tied up in it. Okay. There we go. Perhaps that's a better angle. I'll sort it out for next time. Still getting used to all this camera work. I'll just bring that one out a tad. No, that way. So.
Now I'm hoping
Yeah.
we'll be able to do it so we don't have to put the actual rotor on. Because I can see that being an absolute pain in the backside to paint.
Yeah. Okay, B6.
I just need to see. Yeah.
Right, which spruce C?
That one.
D.
That is down there, isn't it?
Oh, right, yeah. C40. Okay. Right. twiddly of that. So, insert B5 with 11, which has an up and down as well. Does it? It's tapered at the top and bottom at an angle, isn't it? So it must have a difference.
Get my little Alex scraper out just to...
Okay, then we stick this guy on. What I tend to do is, as well, when I'm gluing small parts like this, I'll actually go round and physically overglue where I sanded, so it gets rid of all the sand, I think. So if you've got extra thing, give it a rub, that way you won't have to polish it out with sander marks. Okay, so that guy is on just like that. Then the blade, it's going to have a blade cover. Now, is the blade a different colour to the rest of it? Which it is.
Let's have a look on the...
Yeah, it is.
Yours is different.
The blades are black, the inner part is white, or it's going to be light grey, is it?
Yeah, it's white on the...
So you could probably get away with painting the blades by hand afterwards.
I reckon by looking at the assembly, that we could be able to keep that off. And then slot it in afterwards, you know. I think it could be worth a try.
Yeah, it should go, because I can't, it's not inside the tail, is it? The tail's just smooth. So yeah, I'm inclined to do that as well.
Because you've got to have a really nice joint on the inside as well.
So we're just going to fit to the starboard side.
Because I think it's quite one of the key areas when you look at it. You'll want to see it's got that beautiful shape on the inside of the housing around it, and get that all nice and get rid of the seams, and just
I must admit,
a nightmare with it.
Yeah, talking of closed in tail rotors like this, the Gazelle is now available for DCS for all my flight sim friends, which looks very nice. I haven't flown it because I haven't flown DCS in months, but apparently it's a complete handful to fly. But I'd like to give that one a whirl. Something a bit more sporty. Right, so that would technically fit on like that. And then this will go in like that. Just test fit these two halves. Yeah, no, they're all going afterwards, Steve.
Yeah.
So technically it'll just fit in like
Just be
this.
careful with your the actual prop blades, because they bend
Yeah.
bottom very, very easy.
That's it, look, working motor. We're not motorising this one then.
Well, we could do.
Right, my point to it is though, B5, on the inside of B5, does it not have anything? It just seems a bit odd to have a gap. Surely the real thing doesn't just have a freaking goat gap in it.
No.
I know you could line up the blade to hide that, but it just looks a little bit odd.
So let's have a look. So that bit of
So what I mean is, this here, having a gap in it, just looks a little bit unsightly to me, and looks, quite frankly, horrible. So I'm wondering about
there we
sticking...
go, Phil. Phantom Brute.
God, look, I don't know, you do it. I don't get Phantom Brews. Although, saying that, I'm still working my way through me, like, last 3 pints of it.
That's brilliant. That.
I'm going to be inclined to put something over that because there's plenty of room. No, that's cardboard, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they've left it like that, you know.
Yeah. So if you're doing this type of work, what I would always recommend is oversizing it. Never have it too small. It's easier to sand it in than it is to add bits afterwards. Okay, so what I would tend to do is put in a giant piece just like this. Okay, we do need to sort of work it in a little bit, so we're going to have a little curve just in one end, and then obviously we need to do the correct size. So if we're going to allow for a very small curve, so we're just going to nick in very gently, just put a little tiny curve because there's hardly anything in it, which is perfect. And then from here we are just going to roughly mark it. Again, we're going to do it too big so we can sand it in.
I'm just doing a slightly different way.
Mm-hmm.
Are you using a bit of sheet?
Yeah.
I'm just going
so you could
a bit of styrene rod.
Okay. So we're just going to sand in the edge, just to curve it in. So from this edge, it's not going to foul the actual two halves coming together. So just knocking it back, which is tiny bit more.
What I've done is similar to you, Phil, but I just used you see a small piece of styrene rod.
Yeah.
And just cut that in and just stuck in there with a bit of extra thin.
Yeah.
Because I've got loads of it to hand. I've got all different sizes, and it's just a quick way of doing it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we're just going to sand.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised that they did that.
Okay, so put that in there, and then we'll extra thin the top. And what we'll do is, once that's dried in, we'll just blend it in. So at the moment, as you can see, it's oversized each side, but then what we can do is we'll just pop in here and either cut it with a knife, or we'll just literally hit it with a stick. So that just needs to dry in. It's still not going to foul it going together. Well, I hope it's not going to foul it going together. Get the two halves together. There we go. So when it's smoother, it will obviously be sanded in and done. It'll be fine. Okay, so let's let that dry. See if we've got any more questions. Dee. So it's not 13-seater, it's a 10-seater. Right, so there we go. That's, I don't know if you can see that. That's his one. And he has got the lower glass, Steve.
He has.
He has. Joe has got his. So the seats do fit, and yes, the lower glazing you guys are missing. Yes, I have the lower glazing. So why is it ours doesn't then?
I don't know. Unless it obviously...
Oh, it does have another row of seats, but he's left them out. Cool. Weird.
Yeah. I honestly don't know from...
Okay, Chris says, starting on the cockpit, even 148 seems tiny with my sausage fingers. Just wonder how I post photos in my posts. I'm watching the show on my iPad Pro. Screen size is brilliant for this. But posting on my iPhone to ask questions. Any advice? There's a section in there on the site. Will I press something on the keyboard? No. that you can actually look at, which covers all about posting up photos. It's a little bit more complicated when you're coming in for an iPhone, because what you have to do is have a PhotoBucket account and then copy the links in and just use the IMG links. They'll start in IMG and end in /IMG. Just copy those links into your text as you're writing it, and the photo will appear in there like that. Okay, I did do a video on posting photos as well, like a live thing. I did one evening with you guys as well. I think it's in the tips area, or like getting started on the forum, something else like that. But there's loads of the guys, everyone seems to have done one recently, but it's not, what it happens is PhotoBucket tends to change their mind on how they do it every like 3 weeks. So that's the trouble with that one. I'm caught up in cables. So have a look in there and you can see all about it. It's very straightforward, but basically have a PhotoBucket account or any account where you want to do Flickr, all the usual bits and pieces, and you can either just type in IMG, so you have bracket IMG, the code, bracket, and do it that way, or just click on the add photo. It's a little picture of a photo frame up, it'll come up with a box and you put the address in there and then it'll put it into the forum. But with an iPad, it's a little bit different, a little bit more tricky, because I do it with mine as well. You have to go off, get the code, bring it back. When you're on a PC, you've just got it as a separate tab. So you just click on a tab, it's got all your photos, click on it, it automatically copies, you just paste it into the forum and away you go. But with a tablets, it's a little bit more complicated because you have to change screens and come down, grab it, and then take it back. So if you do multiples, it can be a bit of a pain.
Yeah, there is, in the forum use, hints and tips, it has been brought up about using the iPad Pro and iPads, and
yeah,
you'll find all the information there for it.
Yeah. Sorry, the ear's coming out again.
That's
it. Okay, right, next page. Right, Mark says, hi Phil and Steve, enjoying the show, watching while building my King Tiger. Quick question for you both. I'm going to build an F16 soon, and the colour callouts are asking for metal colour dark iron and stainless steel for the exhausts. Looking at the reference photos, the veins on the outside appear more copperish tint to them. What would be your method and colour for achieving this finish? Right, F16, Carl, tell me about it. It's like me and Hornets, I seem to have done hundreds of them. Every F16 is totally different. I did a video montage, I don't think it's up there anymore, but I did a shot at React close-up of F16 engines as they were taking off and taxiing past it, seeing how they move, open and close. Some great colours on there. Some of them tend to be that sort of titanium silver. Obviously different types of F-16s have different engines. You have the General Electric engine, the Pratt & Whitney engine as well. They're different various bits and pieces. Also with F-16s, it depends on how old the fins are. They tend to change colour as they get older, and obviously, various heat deflections and various things in there. It's a case of having a look at a reference for which one you want to go for and sticking with it. To get that copperish tint, you can actually get colours that do it. So one of them is, I'm just looking around for it, Alclad do a coppery tint, but you can actually take one, I can't see where it is there, but you've got colours like pale brass. If you're using extreme metals, it's a very pale one, and I'm just looking, I've not got my entire range up there, but one of them has got that sort of copperish tint. The burnt metal, I don't know if this is a good one or an old one. This is quite a darker version of it, but again, it's not too bad one, but it's this one here. Okay, you can see that one down there. That's, depending which way you do it. But pale brass, again, you can see it, that oat is on the top. But again, a thin coating of it and build up your layers through it will give you that said effect. Okay, going right the way through, and as I say, you've got brass as well, where again, if you used to be using this and just a hue, just literally very thin, just a dusting over the top, that will give you that tint to it as well. So depending on how you want to do it, this here is one of those Duff bottles, I think. Oh no, it's not. Just needs a damn good shake. Okay. But yeah, the other one as well, if I remember rightly, isn't it Duro Aluminium has that sort of colour? That's going to happen. Okay. This is one of the Duffy ones-ish. Yeah, this is it. This is the colour I was talking about. If you can see that colour, This has that sort of copper, so it's that dual aluminium colour. Again, do your normal metals on there, like an aluminium, titanium, something else like that, and a light dusting of that over the top of it will give you that type of hint. But if you're doing that type of effect with engines and the various bits and pieces, then you know, it is that thing of layering up. We were talking about it a lot on today's show, literally layering up your colours to give you depth, okay, and you can work it through like that. Okay, is that Steve? Would you agree? What would you say?
Yeah, I'd go for that option. Definitely. It's just building it up in different layers. If it needs to, if you're using, like for example, if you use the Vallejo range, just really thinner colour and just a little mist over the top.
Yeah,
Just build
definitely.
it that way.
Tim Martha, who obviously clearly doesn't watch my video builds, thanks for that, Tim. He's saying about labelling up. You can probably see that on my screen a bit. Labelling up your sprues. I do that all the time, which obviously clearly don't watch my review builds. If I get a sprue system where I've got more than 5 sprues, I tend to label them exactly the same way. Jimmy Pollard, morning gents. What's with the coffee? I thought tea was the beverage of choice in the GB. Great video and audio today, thanks for the fun. To be honest, coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon, but I don't drink tea. But Mel, she just drinks tea all day long, that's all she does, doesn't drink coffee at all. But me, I'm definitely a coffee guy. Steve, tea or coffee?
I love my tea. Coffee, I like freshly done, like your cappuccinos and lattes. I used to drink instant coffee, but when I stopped smoking, my taste buds changed and I thought it tasted awful. It's weird.
See?
So before that, I used to drink coffee by the gallon. And I mean, and it used to be like 2 teaspoons of coffee in each mug. Really strong, and it's weird. You can't beat a good cup of tea.
No, I must admit that I prefer my coffee, if I'm honest. Clint, hi fellas. Here's a review of my Trumpeter 05 kit that has the parts you're after. Righto. So, but that's great, but it's not going to help us right now because we've got the wrong one.
Maybe if we wrote to Pocket Bond, they might have a replacement. Or...
What, 2?
Well,
can we have 2 doors, please?
I wrote to Trumpeter and say, look, and we need it's going out on a live show, you know.
I have got a contact. I've got an in with Trumpeter. I will speak to him. Although I haven't spoken to him in years, I will try him again.
Yeah.
See if we can get.
Well, it could be worth it just getting the doors. Because we know they do them. So
yeah, because we just leave the doors off for the minute, or put them on, and then do it when the new ones turn up as a replacement.
Yeah,
definitely. Okay, Al says, "Hi Phil and Steve. It's 6:30 p.m. here in the Philippines, and I'm doing my Hasegawa F14A148 while watching your live show. Do you know what? I absolutely love that kit. I know it's been the Hobby Boss one, but it's got more details and perhaps a little bit nicer if I'm honest. But there's something about the Hasegawa F14A, the A and the D version. Absolutely love it. I don't know why. My question is for Phil, that he is using a mini scissors rather than sprue cutter nips. Does it feel better? Does it work on hard plastic like old kinetic kits? Or does it fly away with the small parts cutting the sprue? To be honest, we get a lot about my orange scissors. I know it's a standing joke in a lot of communities.
No.
But Steve got his as well. See, well, I'm not the only one. The big thing is, I'll be honest with you, I've always used them. I've never used sprue cutters in my life. The reason is that I am an animal with my building, as I say, and I know I harp on about it, but it comes back to commission days where speed is everything. So I have one tool that does everything. This cuts piano wire, it cuts, literally lead sheet, decals, styrene, you name it, it will cut it. And I've had these now years and years and years. And when we're talking over 10 years now, and they still cut today like they always did. Okay. Carrier film it struggles with, and I've got decoupage scissors for that now, but everything else it still absolutely does it. So I cut photo etch with it, I cut plastic, that's what it is. It's just my go-to item. It sits here next to me and it's like that. These 2 items is my standard for absolutely everything. It's just what I use, okay? So literally you just grab it, cut and go. Look at me, things are running all over the place because they've fallen over and they're pooling up in the wrong area. That's what we're talking about. So yeah, that's the thing. It's just speed, but don't get me wrong, I know the guy's talking about obviously sprue cutters recently. Steve uses that MMA thing, whatever it's called.
Yeah, UMM.
cutter thing. Yeah. You know, everyone has their things they prefer. For me, it's these things. It's my go-to thing. They're here. I have them. No matter what job I seem to be doing, I'll just use these. Okay, so that's the thing to that.
Yeah, I switch between. I use UMM and these little scissors.
Yeah.
I've got some of them Zuron side cutters if I need out stronger.
Yeah.
And then I've got some kind of bulk cutter stuff as well if I need it.
What, for working on Kitty Hawk kits?
Yeah. No, that's where I've got some brass rod, and it's just easier using that than running risk of damaging your nice edge on my UMM cutters or my scissors.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say, you know, it is a thing. It's these ones. I was cutting piano wire with it, not obviously heavy gauge stuff, but the thinner stuff, and I put a little nick in it. And every time I cut them, for ages, you used to feel it. You used to have to push past it, where it obviously bent the metal. But now they're back to good. It's worn it out and cutting through lovely, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, so Mark says, hi both. Steve, have you used or know, is it Raypen? Raupen? Model tracks for Tusker kits even. Are they any good? Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, is it Raupen? Raupen model tracks.
Raupen, no.
Raupen? No, I must admit I've never heard of them either.
No, they're a new one on me, definitely.
Yeah, I must admit it's a new one on me as well. I haven't heard of those. Right, okay, how are we doing? Right, a quick last refresh, and I think we'll have to call it quits for today, because we have been on here for 3 hours.
Is it that time already?
I tell you what, isn't it fly? I could sit here all day doing this.
Yeah.
No editing! Yay!
Well, it is. It's when you just sat there, just, you know, assembling your kit, chatting away, time flies and you enjoy it.
That's it. I have thought about one thing for you guys that are here. We were talking about different camera angles and all the rest of it. The screen is at the moment. I have actually thought about putting up all 4 camera angles at once for my videos. Just a little thing, but obviously, you know, when it's the in-depth stuff, I can cut that into just a big overall. But with my new system, and I can flick around all the cameras and everything else like that, there is a way as well I can actually stream 4 camera angles from me at once. Obviously with Steve it's a bit more difficult because he's just coming in via a webcam system on here, so for him to physically change cameras he would have to have multiple webcams, and I'm not even sure you can do that with Skype. But you know, for the full video builds as well, would you like to see it from all different angles at once, or would that be too much in your face? You know, so it was just something I thought about, whereas like here, because I'm looking at Steve now, that's why I'm looking that way. You know, obviously I can see various different angles and various bits and pieces. Feedback as always, like to know what you feel. Right, let me just try and hack this thing off without breaking it, and then we'll call it quits. So we're just going to sand lightly through here. I'll just trim up that bottom. Okay.
Yeah, it worked a treat, that. Don't know if you can see mine. Up a bit, there we go.
Oh yeah, no, lovely.
Quick, simple way of doing it, and it does look a lot nicer than having a
gap.
big gap. Hopefully it'll fit in nicely now. Okay.
So that's pretty much perfect. Then we just nip out the corners. But you could cut it all the way with a knife,
but the right way, yeah.
But that's definitely better down there now.
Yeah.
Instead of having a slit missing, because that's just crap.
So when you have to put it on the right side.
Hey?
You've got it the right way.
Oh, I bloody hope so. That's on the starboard side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh. Shit. No, it wouldn't have gone the other. Yeah, it wouldn't have gone the other way. Otherwise, the tab wouldn't have fitted in on this side.
That's all right then.
Don't say that, Steve.
In the wrong way.
Yeah, I was just have visions of like, you know, there we are. Everyone's got theirs on the correct side, and mine's not, and that fits in there absolutely perfect. So by the time this does come in,
that'll look nice once you've spent a bit of time when you've so nicely sanded the joint, and it'll look really nice.
No, it will be very nice in there. Quite like that. It's very nice indeed. It's a good fit. As I say, we were talking about the nose section. As I say, Steve had trouble with his. Mine's a perfect fit. Underneath is absolutely perfect. I can't complain at all. But I have then got this warp on just this front edge. But once it's together, actually, it's not too bad. I think a drop of filler down there and we'll be fine. This one at the top, I must admit, is my own doing because I over-sanded it a little bit. But actually, mine's not a bad fit at all when it's together. So I'm happy with that.
I've just thought, Phil, I can go to my other kit, check to see if that door's okay and nick it.
Yeah, so up for you. You can do that. I can't because I haven't got another one. Have I? I don't know
Hopefully
actually.
We'll get you'll be able to source as a replacement from your contact. But
yes.
Yeah, mine's fine. All the front.
Yeah.
Fine. It's just that part of the front. You see it better now. It's black.
Yeah. I don't get that. Mine's completely the other way. Mine's bent slightly at the top, but the bottom's fine.
You can see there how. You just squeeze it there.
Yeah, it'd be fine. Drop a glue.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll look nice. Getting there. Well, that's yeah.
Yeah, I must admit mine's alright as well. I'm quite happy with the way that's all sitting and going down. To say my bottom is absolutely is fine together.
A great bottom.
Thank you. See, you flatterer. Okay, so that I'm going to need a little pinch just here and there, but actually there's no gap between the front windscreen coming down, which is quite handy on that. And even with the inside in, which we can have another quick look at before we go. Actually, that instrument panel, I am very, very happy with how that is now. I'll just drop this down. I think by the time the seats are in there, it gives it a little bit of gloss work in there. We were saying, guys, it just gives it that tint and that look. I know, very hard to see it. Camera angles are rubbish.
Did you do them displays that are on the centre console?
Yeah, the two bottom ones. Yeah.
Yeah, there's three right at the top. Yeah, you've done. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually three, Phil. Just till that middle one as well.
Yeah, right. I'll just tap that one in a minute. So cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that's all gone and all the rest of it.
I need to find out the lever because there is quite a few levers at the top, and now I did put one in, but it's falling out the other one.
Right.
So I might just stick another one. Just use a bit of photo etch. And they're just black with a yellow end on them.
So, quick fiddle in. Need to adjust that grey on that side.
Yeah, it looks good.
And I'm amazed it actually goes together, he says. Perhaps it doesn't. Let's move. As I say, last time I test fitted it, it went together fine. Oh, hold on. Bulkhead's on the wrong side. Here we go. It should. Oh, come on, get in. There we go. But it actually, considering once the inside's in as well, that it fits really, really well. Once it's all in there, I've got no problem with it going together at all, which is always the bit of the worry that once you put it in with an internal, it's going to cause problems. But I think we're all okay. So yeah, so far so good. Pushing on nicely. Thank God.
One of my windows just come loose.
See, look, you just put your finger on it, haven't you? That's my trick.
Yeah. Touch more glue. Yeah, it's me not putting enough glue on it, really.
Yeah. But you can see these as well. See how they're clearing and going? You get that nice tint. But the trouble is, if, like here, you might see on this one, it's pulled up right at the bottom because it's hanging off. Okay? But the thing is with these, what's funny is, when you touch them, they are not sticky and rubbery at all. It's literally just like paint. So it's odd because you always expect this stuff to roll up if you rub it. It doesn't work like this. This you physically have to get hold of it and peel it to get it off. So yeah, it's a nice little tint on that. But actually you can see this. It might work well as a little green tint on the rooflet. Once this totally dries, I wonder if you could get away with that.
I was just thinking that, but it's quite dark green.
Well, the trouble is you're trying to keep it all smooth because I have got cloudiness in there as well. So I think I'm probably going to go down the lines of spraying it.
Yeah.
And trying it like that, really. I don't think it's going to be an easy one to do, just straightforward off the cuff.
Oh, I've just got a smidge of glue on the clear part as well. So I'm going to have to polish that.
Right, let me just check for messages and we'll call it quits because we've gone 12. Dee. Crikey, I think Mel's home.
She'll come in a minute.
Yeah, she will. Because she'll think we finished filming, so she'll come flying through the door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. And I won't tell her we're live, and then she'll kill me.
Especially if I've not got to say, you never know, she might come home with a nice surprise for you. Oh, that'd be funny.
No, she'd kill me. Oh no, forget that, it's the recycling people. They're always quiet, aren't they?
You get them on the same day?
Well, what it is, because yeah, we do. Yeah, the recycling and the bins and everything's all on the same day. But because we have bank holiday on Monday, our bin day's Friday.
Do you have these scrap metal people coming round where you are?
No, not really.
If you have an old barbecue, just stick it on pavement, it'll be gone next day. Brilliant.
Yeah, but don't forget, because we're like a private road up here, we don't get any traffic. Nobody ever comes up here.
I think what the problem is, Phil, is when you put the glazing in, obviously it's not strong enough, so
yeah,
it just keeps moving slightly.
Yeah.
And I've got, like I say, if you can notice.
Hold on, let me put you on full screen. There we go.
See, in that bottom cut, can you see on the bottom, just there?
Yeah.
Where my finger is, I've got a little slight drop of glue on the inside, so I'm gonna have to just polish that out. So
yeah.
That's because the only reason that happened, I had too much glue on the brush.
Yeah.
I did.
I must admit, you do that. I don't. I tend to use PVA glue purely because if I ever need to get back in there or whatever, I can just cut it open. You know, to get in there. And also, you don't run the risk yet of glue marks and the various bits and pieces. You know, but that's purely just my worriness of doing it all in the various bits and pieces.
Yeah,
you know?
I tend to use PVA more if there's a chance of it fogging up or.
Yeah. But so many times I've been caught doing that and then it's fogged. You know, where I've caught it, moved it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's got to, by using styrene glue, Tamiya glue, it's just got to strengthen it as well.
Yeah.
It's quite fragile at the moment.
Look, sand and stuff flying everywhere. Right, okay, so...
I think if the next time, if we've got all the glazing in,
yeah,
it'd be nice to show how we do the clear green. Sound rubbish at that, so it'd be good for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as I say, plan for next week will be to do we'll have the glazing all in for you. So that's all done, and then what we'll do is we'll get on there with the other bigger jobs, to say doing the green work, showing about that. That'll be quite good. And then we can get on with all the sort of smaller jobs, various bits and pieces, obviously getting the two halves together, taking care of any seam lines, various bits and pieces in there like that, and really start pushing it on. It'd be nice to get the two halves together and everything, because then it starts moving on quite a lot. But the rotor head would be fun, doing all of that, doing all the striping work on the rotor head.
Yeah.
And on the rotors and all the bits and pieces.
Because we're not got, but I don't think I'll have the engine exposed.
No, yeah, we said about it, we're not going to open it up, are we?
So if by looking at the instructions, which are there, if we skip stage 9,
yeah,
and then concentrate on doing 10, and then put that on to 11, we should be okay.
Yeah.
So that's next time. Add a little bit of wiring.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll try and get some nice reference pictures sourced. And
right, okay, well that's it. There's no more questions in here, so I think we're clear. All sorted. Thank you very much for joining. I've got two cameras now, so I think it's that one or this one. Look, let me turn that one over to that one. But you can get me in stereo. Look, I'm almost 3D now, look. See, look, I'm in 3D. Is there any lag between the two? There's a
No,
tiny
there
bit of
isn't,
lag
actually.
between the two, actually. Because one's coming off the computer, one's a webcam. So, yes. Although that's horrible with both there, I'll put this one here. Look, there's Steve. That's how I see Steve. Look, he's over there, look, in the corner. Right, well, there we go. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to have you here. Hope you enjoyed it and all the bits and pieces. If you have, obviously shoot us a thumbs up on the forum and the bits and pieces, and we know we're doing something right, and everything else. So thank you very much for Steve joining us today.
Pleasure as always.
Great job and everything else like that. As I say, we really love doing this. It's quite fun, really, for us. And time certainly flies because we've been on now 3 hours, 15 minutes.
But again, if you look back what we've actually achieved.
Yeah, which is a lot more than last week. Yeah, it's double what we did last week and still really not a lot. But no, I enjoy doing it. I hope you enjoy doing it. And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time because next week I've got to go up the Midlands way. I'm up near you in Stafford. And then obviously we'll be back the following Saturday for you guys like that. So yeah, thank you very much, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Right, and I'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll see you all Tuesday. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you all soon. Bye. Hey, look, they get a bit of an outro, but they can still hear us. Don't say anything, Steve.
I'm not.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Right, hold on, Steve. I've got to turn it off. Hold on.
Right.